Chapter 616. Jiang Zhao and Ouyang Hai were in the middle of this Tai Chi discussion about Subway Line 2. Dinner time had arrived. When the servant came to call them for dinner, Jiang Zhao stood up. Hai Zi, you don't listen to my advice. But I think Chiu is very cute. Of course. If my son is not cute, who is cute? Ah. Ouyang Hai laughed when he mentioned his son. He stood up and walked in front of Jiang Zhao. Let's go for dinner. Jiang Zhao looked at his watch. Hai Zi, I will not be having dinner here tonight. Everyone is here on Sunday. How can you do that? It's rare for you to come here and you don't even want to have dinner? Ouyang Hai patted Jiang Zhao's back. Let's go. If you don't want to give me face, then give my grandfather some face. How about it? Jiang Zhao exhaled. He didn't want Ouyang Xing to beat around the bush and ask about the second line for the whole afternoon, and then be forced by Ouyang Xing at the dinner table in the evening. Hai Zi, I can't do that. I had promised Yun Yi that I will go home for dinner. If I don't go home for dinner, she will throw a tantrum again. Ouyang Hai exclaimed in surprise. If other people know that Mayor Jiang is afraid of your wife, they will laugh at you. It's not that I am afraid. I am just too busy and don't have much time to accompany my family. It's rare for me to have a day off. Jiang Zhao knew that Ouyang Xing was trying to make him give in and reject people of the same age. But as long as it was a descendant of a noble family, they should show due respect to their family's elders. It was just like how he had to salute Xi Jintian and Xianyo had to salute his grandfather. Even Fei Yan and Shen Kai, those famous foppish fellows, when they met the elders of the aristocratic families, they still had to lower their heads. Zhao Zhao, you're too much. Today there's only you, me, Hai Zi, Junjun and Chiu in the house. Our house isn't as complete as yours. Are you saying this for an old thing like me to hear? Or is it that this old thing is going to enter the coffin in a few years? You young people don't even want to have a meal with me. Ouyang Xing had already walked to the door of the study, and his words seemed to be depressing. Jiang Zhao was speechless. Hey, fourth master, listen to what you're saying. I didn't hear anything. Jiang Zhao turned around and supported Ouyang Xing. Let's go downstairs and eat. All right. Ouyang Xing turned to Hai Zi and said, Hai Zi, go and take out the two little fists that I have hidden. After Hai Zi agreed, Ouyang Xing said to Jiang Zhao, last time this pair of wine bottles were the size of a fist, so I called them little fists. Tonight, let's drink this thing. It probably won't be enough for us to rinse our mouths. I know that you've been drinking white wine with your elders. After drinking, I still have some good wine in my collection. Let's drink a few more cups. Fourth grandpa, let's not drink wine. I still have to drive tonight. Ouyang Xing straightened his back. How can that be? When men eat with men without drinking wine, is it called a man? You must drink tonight. Fourth grandpa's driver never drinks. Is his driving skills worse than a designated driver? Don't worry. After Jiang Zhao went downstairs, he went out of the hall and stood in the garden to make a phone call. The light on the horizon had faded, and the gray sky seemed a little depressing. Yin Yi Er's voice was sweet, as if the afternoon when she begged Jiang Zhao to take her to the family Ouyang had not happened at all. Hubby, I cooked a lot of Cantonese dishes tonight and made some soup to nourish you, haha. Jiang Zhao reached out and rubbed his chin. He could imagine how much Yi Er's dishes suited his taste. Yi Er never put MSG in the dishes she cooked. After eating, he would not feel that the food he ate was tasteless. Yun Yi, I'm not going home for dinner tonight. Fourth grandpa insisted that I stay for dinner. You and dad eat first. Don't wait for me. But? Yi Er raised her head and blinked hard. She stretched out the hand that was holding the phone far away. Then she sniffed hard. After choking, she put the phone back to her ear and smiled. But there's so much food. How can the three of us finish it? Then leave it for me. I'll have supper tonight, okay? But you don't like to eat supper. Yin Yi, be good, okay? I'll go back after dinner. Yi Er leaned against the guardrail on the balcony. A drop of water dripped from the back of her white hand, splashing some fine water foam. Okay, I'll be good. Come back after dinner. Don't lie to me. I'll wait for you. Okay. You and Gigai eat. The dining room was as bright as the sun, and the atmosphere was not depressing. As cunning as Ouyang Xing was, the older the ginger, the spicier it was. When it came to scheming, even psychological hints would be in place step by step. At the dining table, Ouyang Xing never mentioned Ouyang Yan. He only said that brothers should take care of each other. Every sentence he said hinted that Jiang Zhao should use his authority to make things easier for Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao's thoughts stopped at this level. He played Tai Chi and guarded his bottom line. The glass bottle that was the size of a small fist was like an oval crystal ball. Paired with a small crystal glass, it was really exquisite. The table was filled with the aroma of wine. The small crystal glass contained very little wine, but the wine was mellow and fragrant. It was also full of alcohol. Jiang Zhao had a lot of social gatherings on a daily basis. No matter how concentrated the wine was, it was fine as long as it was not too bad for him. After Ouyang Yen returned to family Ouyang, Jiang Zhao greeted her. Ouyang Sheng called out to Ouyang Yen. Yun Yun, just in time. We're eating. Sit down and eat too. Ouyang Yen said, I've eaten. Then she rolled her eyes at Jiang Zhao. What are you doing here? Jiang Zhao said calmly, Oh, I'm here for a meal and then I'll leave. Did she think that he wanted to come? He also knew that it was not that simple to come over today. He was exhausted from the whole afternoon of playing Tai Chi around line 2. It was Sunday and he did not want to deal with these things at all. Don't you have food at home? Why did you come to my house for a meal? Ouyang Yen took off her coat and handed it to the servant. Jiang Zhao narrowed his eyes. This was strange. Ouyang Yen had never been like this. She would never speak so directly and sharply. Even if she was unhappy, she would beat around the bush. She would try to speak as calmly as possible. Now her tone was very much like Yi Er's. When did Ouyang Yen become like this? Was she blaming him for making her move out of the apartment in the north of the city? After moving out for so long, she still could not find a place to live. Yun Yun. Ouyang Sheng put down his chopsticks and stopped her sternly. Ouyang Yen shouted back. What am I doing? Why did you ask him to come home for a meal? Hasn't he humiliated me enough? Now you even brought him home for a meal. How can I face others in the future? Jiang Zhao did not care that Ouyang Yen did not give him face. In fact, he had been sitting on pins and needles for a long time. His wife had cooked a table full of dishes at home. It was not like he did not have food to eat. What kind of lousy boxing game was it? No matter how expensive it was not as good as the fruit wine that his wife learned from the elders at home. How could people like them understand that taste? Fourth grandfather, it's getting late. I'll go back first. When Jiang Zhao stood up, Ouyang Sheng immediately stopped her. Zhao Zhao, don't lower yourself to Yun Yun's level. She's a little bastard. Ouyang Yen snorted and ran upstairs. Jiang Zhao looked at the time. It was 8 o'clock. She felt a little dizzy. She had eaten for a long time. Fourth grandfather, Haizi, it's really getting late. I have to go back. I have to go back to work tomorrow. Ouyang Sheng sighed. Okay. It's different when you have a family. Haizi, you should learn from Zhao Zhao. Ouyang Hai laughed. Grandsons are always better than others, right? You know and you still say it? Family Ouyang's chauffeur drove for Jiang Zhao. After getting in the car, Jiang Zhao wanted to sleep. Yi Er watched TV at home. She switched channels one by one. She paused on each channel for a few seconds. She was not satisfied with any of them until midnight. It should be supper now, right? She had to send Sijie to school on Sunday night. At night, only Yi Er and Yun Hongwei were at home. Yi Er suddenly remembered what Jiang Zhao said in the morning. He wanted to buy a new house for her father. Actually, it was good to buy a new house. At least her father would not be worried when she was waiting for her husband at home. Yi Er wanted to be a sensible first wife. She wanted to be as generous and sensible as the first wife in ancient times. But she had reached her limit. Midnight was a sensitive time. Even if she was deceiving herself, she should know that she had been exposed when she saw someone coming to arrest her, right? She wanted to learn from Ouyang Yen to be generous, but she could not. She still had to make the call. She had been holding the phone in her hand all this time. It was burning hot. She dialed Jiang Zhao's number, but the response she got was, "The subscriber you have dialed is unavailable. Please try again later." She stood up from the sofa with a whoosh. To hell with your generosity. Before she left, she thought about it. This was the second time she was going to look for Jiang Zhao in front of her father. She lied to Yun Hongwei again, saying that Jiang Zhao had asked her to pick him up and that he was drinking outside. Yi Er went to the garage and got into the flashy off-road vehicle. She started the engine. She drove all the way to Qingbei condominium. She had the key to Qingbei, so she did not even knock on the door. She turned the key and entered. Jiang Zhao's shoes were not at the door, nor were they in the shoe cabinet. She searched the rooms one by one. It was empty. It was all empty. There was not a single person. Yi Er stood in the house that she used to live in. She realized that there was nothing more helpless than not being able to find a person. At this moment she felt like a trapped beast. She was locked in this cage, turning around every corner. She always thought that they would be in the closet, under the bed, on the balcony, in the kitchen. She even opened the fridge to look for them. She knew that she had really gone crazy. If the place where the two of them slept together was not there, then where could they have gone? Jiang Zhao, Jiang Zhao. Are you enjoying the happiness of having multiple wives? Do you want to be like the men in ancient times, where the first wife takes good care of the second wife for you? That's right. He said it was the family Ouyang's old residence. But where was the family Ouyang's old residence? She took out her phone and flipped through the contacts one by one with trembling hands. Mother-in-law? It was too late. She could not make this call. Father-in-law? It was too late. Qin family's old residence? It was too late. Fian? Fian, Welfare Songshu 566. Chapter 617. Yi Er hesitated for a while before calling Qin Fian. In Xia Qin's words, the Qin Palace was the largest and most luxurious place in Sea City. It was also the most luxurious place to take a bath. Qin Fian himself also liked to take a bath here, surrounded by mist. His devilish face leaned against the edge of the pool, his white skin was slightly red from the steam. When his phone rang, his phoenix eyes lazily opened, a little impatient. When his hand reached out from the pool, the sound of water could be heard. There was a white towel by his side. He dipped his arm on it and picked up the phone. When he saw the name of the caller, he frowned. Sister-in-law? Fian, I'm sorry. Are you asleep? Qin Fian sat up a little, half of his sexy upper body coming out of the water. No, sister-in-law. Do you have something to say to me? Fian, do you know where family Ouyang's old residence is? Although Yi Er always wanted to be quiet, if her voice was too loud, she would get agitated. Therefore, she had been suppressing her voice and slowing it down, but when it reached Qin Fian's ears, it was clear that her voice was trembling. Sister-in-law, what's the matter? Fian, can you tell me where family Ouyang is? Can you send me the address? Qin Fian was a man. He knew how cunning this world was. At this time he couldn't be blamed for being bad. No matter how good Yi Er's personality was, no matter how likable she was still his sister-in-law. And Jiang Zhao was his brother. He could feel that his brother cared about his sister-in-law, but he also knew about Ouyang Yan's past. What was the meaning of asking about family Ouyang at this time? He couldn't speak carelessly. His brother should help cover for him at this time. No matter what, he was on his brother's side. Sister-in-law, don't be anxious. Where are you? Tell me. With a splash, the beautiful man came out of the bath. Qin Fian wrapped a bath towel around his waist, walked out of the pool and entered the changing room. Fian, you can't bully me like this. You can't help your brother lie to me like this. Tell me where's family Ouyang. If you don't tell me, I'll go find it myself. I'll go back to the Qin family to ask Grandpa now. I'm not afraid of causing trouble. I'm telling you, Fian, don't force me. Yi Er couldn't help but cry. Qin Fian was stunned. He thought that something big was about to happen. If Grandpa heard about it, he might try to persuade him. If Grandpa knew about it, he would definitely be punished according to the family rules. What's more, if he told Yi Er the address and went to find it himself, what if something happened? He had to follow her. Sister-in-law, tell me where you are. I'll pick you up and bring you there. Don't be agitated. I'll be there right away. Yi Er had already walked to the door. She took her bag and prepared to lock the door. I'm at the apartment in the north of the city. Your brother's house is here. Fian, I'll wait for you downstairs. Fian, you can't fool me. If you're not here in 20 minutes, I'll go find it myself. Qin Fian didn't dare to refuse. Yi Er's voice conveyed her emotions. She was very emotional and very irrational. Qin Fian called Jiang Zhao, but his phone was turned off. He called Ouyang Yan, but his phone was turned off. He called Ouyang Hai, but his phone was turned off. Even the family Ouyang house's phone was turned off. Someone had pulled out the phone line. The atmosphere was too strange. Yi Er didn't choose to wait in the room. Firstly, this was where Jiang Zhao and Ouyang Yan used to live. She couldn't stay there for too long. Staying there for even a minute would make her uncomfortable. Secondly, she needed to feel the cold wind. She needed to calm down. Although the blood in her body was cold, her brain was hot. It was like a volcano that could erupt at any time after the Earth's crust moved. Magma was boiling inside her body, and she could erupt at any time. Family Ouyang in the study, Ouyang Sheng and Ouyang Hai were slowly brewing tea. Ouyang Hai just kept brewing but didn't drink. He seemed to be in a bad mood. Grandfather, I didn't agree to do this from the start. This time, you even included me in your calculations. Ouyang Sheng was indifferent. For Yun Yun, why do you have to be so calculative? If Jiang Zhao can marry Yun Yun in the future, you and Jiang Zhao will be relatives. Are you afraid that he will hate you? Ouyang Hai was unhappy. For Yun Yun? Grandfather, have you thought about the benefits of angering Jiang Zhao if this doesn't work out? Ouyang Sheng didn't care. He and Yun Yun have feelings for each other. He just doesn't have anyone to push him. Ouyang Hai rudely poured away the tea that he had just brewed and brewed it again. His voice was not loud. You're too confident. You're too confident in your granddaughter. Since young you've always thought that she's outstanding in everything. Any man should love her to death, right? Ouyang Sheng's face darkened. You're going overboard. Hai-zi, don't you want Yun Yun to be happy? She's your biological sister. Yes. This biological sister of mine was raised by you single-handedly. So, you only care about whether your biological granddaughter can marry the man she likes. Grandfather, you'd rather destroy a temple than destroy a marriage. You only care about this kind of thing. Ouyang Sheng threw the small purple sand in his hand onto the tea set. You just want to say that I'm biased. Aren't you biased? What's wrong with Junju? Isn't her family background just a little ordinary? What trouble has she caused for you in the past few years after marrying me? Is Chiochio not obedient? Isn't she cute? Ouyang Hai tugged at the tie around his neck. He stood up and imitated Ouyang Sheng to throw the small purple sand in his hand, but it fell to the ground. The porcelain shards flew everywhere and the tea foam flew everywhere. He took a deep breath. Grandfather, this is the last time you threaten me. I promise you there won't be a next time. The next time you protect Yun Yun and do something ridiculous, don't involve me in anything. I'll pretend that I don't know. But, the next time you kidnap Junjun and Chiochio to the old mansion to threaten me, don't acknowledge me anymore. All the assets under your name can be given to Yun Yun. I can't inherit such a generous amount of assets. Let our family of 3 live a little more peacefully. Ouyang Sheng's face paled and his entire body trembled. When he stood up, his voice trembled. Hai-zi, you're all my flesh. Which part of grandfather doesn't dote on you? The family Ouyang's things are all yours. Yun Yun will eventually get married. Today's matter, grandfather didn't intend to use Junjun and Chiochio to threaten you. If you'd been more obedient, grandfather? Ouyang Sheng laughed self-deprecatingly. Be obedient? This matter is clearly Yun Yun being disobedient. You can make up this matter yourself, but you insist on making me drag it out. Do you want Jiang Zhao to have scruples in the future? Even so, do you need to use Junjun and Chiochio to threaten me? Chiochio is my biological son, grandfather. Do you have to favor Yun Yun to this extent? If that Jiang Zhao still has feelings for her, he definitely wouldn't have married Yun Yi. Ouyang Sheng straightened his back and said loudly, Do you think every man is as one-track-minded as you? Ouyang Sheng raised his chin, raised his eyebrows slightly and said hatefully, I'm one-track-minded. You're not one-track-minded? Aren't you helping Yun Yun single-mindedly? Let her do whatever she wants. Go and pluck the moon for her. Hurry up and do it. Ouyang Sheng understood that Ouyang Hai was complaining about his favoritism. Hai-zi. Yun Yun has always been sensible. All these years, when has she ever asked me for anything? When has she ever asked for anything from the family? She's always been very obedient. You can't reject your sister just because of this. That's right. You can't reject your sister because of this. Yes, she didn't ask for anything. When has she ever asked for anything that was a bastard request? When she was in university, she had a good relationship with Jiang Zhao. The family felt that the marriage between the two families was a strong alliance. They were about to get engaged. In a moment of impulse, she said that she didn't want to rely on the family to make a career. She didn't want to get engaged and threw Jiang Zhao aside. She wanted others to understand her. Old Master Qin even came to mediate. Old Master Jiang rushed over from Jiang District to say good things. What did you do? You even persuaded Jiang Zhao to let her go. At that time she didn't want him. Now she thinks that Jiang Zhao is good? What were you doing earlier? You continue to play along with her. I want to see what you two will do. Yun Yun isn't playing along. She's too young. She needs to learn to cherish her experience. Ouyang Hai felt too tired. He couldn't care about other people's happiness. He couldn't even protect himself. Continue to let her learn what life is. Grandfather, I've completed my task today, right? Can I bring my wife and child back now? Chiochio is asleep. Hai-zi, he's asleep. I'll go and hug him. Ouyang Hai turned around and exhaled. I feel embarrassed to stay here for even a minute longer. Hai-zi, what did you say? When Ouyang Sheng shouted, he felt his liver burn. Ouyang Hai turned around. His eyes were full of disdain. He smiled. I feel embarrassed. My biological sister must be an ugly monster. Otherwise she must be crazy. All the men in Haiqing are dead. She can't get married. That's why I cooperated with you to set such a big trap for Jiang Zhao. Ouyang Sheng was so angry that he was panting heavily. However, he knew that his grandson had been angry from beginning to end today. Hi Z, I've already said that everything in the Ouyang family belongs to you. Why are you fussing over such a small matter with your sister? Yunyun doesn't want anything from you. She just likes Jiangzhao. She's so generous. She doesn't want anything. She just wants Jiangzhao, right? Ouyang Hai took off the tie around his neck and rubbed it. Holding it in his hand, he sneered. Just wait and see. If her marriage with Jiangzhao doesn't work out, you'll have to clean up the mess later. Ouyang Hai left the study and ran up to the third floor. The children's room wasn't locked. He opened the door and saw that Anai Jun had fallen asleep with Qiuqiu in her arms. He reached into the blanket and touched Anai Jun's neck. Anai Jun was shocked. Ouyang Hai patted her shoulder to comfort her. Junjun, get up and put on your clothes. Carry Qiuqiu. Let's go home. Anai Jun's eyes reddened and she nodded. After she put on her clothes, Qiuqiu was still sleeping soundly. Ouyang Hai handed the car keys to Anai Jun and took off his jacket to wrap Qiuqiu. Junjun, drive the car to the door. It's cold outside. Qiuqiu will wake up later. Okay, I'll go right away. Anai Jun took the keys. Dahai, bring Qiuqiu down in 5 minutes. Okay. Hurry up. Let's leave this place quickly. I don't want to stay here for another minute. 5 minutes later. Ouyang Hai carried Qiuqiu and sat in the back seat. Anai Jun turned on the headlights and flashed them at the big iron gate outside the villa. When the security guard saw them, he didn't let them in. Instead, he turned back to the security room and dialed the internal line to inquire. Attention Hongcha 866. Chapter 618. Ouyang Hai looked at Anai Jun's trembling hands on the steering wheel and comforted her softly. Junjun, don't be afraid. Grandpa has agreed to let me take you away. Anai Jun held the steering wheel and stared at the door. Junjun, the past won't happen again. Don't be afraid. I'm the one who scared you today. It's okay, Dahai. Anai Jun was panting and sobbing. Dahai, let's not stay in Haicheng. Let's take Qiuqiu and leave this place. I don't want to live in a big villa. Not at all. Don't be afraid. Don't think about the past. We already have a son. Grandpa won't do anything. We won't come here again, okay? Also, the villa and the company we're living in belong to us. They have nothing to do with Grandpa. You should stay here because I gave them to you. Do you understand? Ouyang Hai hugged Qiuqiu. Turn the air conditioner up a notch. Qiuqiu will catch a cold. Okay. Anai Jun replied calmly. She watched as the iron gate slowly opened. When the car could pass, she stepped on the accelerator and the car rushed out. Ouyang Hai hugged Qiuqiu and leaned against the back of the car. Junjun, slow down. Dahai, I'm sorry. It's okay. I'm just afraid of dropping Qiuqiu. Ouyang Hai's car had just rushed out of the villa when Qin Fian's car honked. The security guard saw that it was Qin Fian and quickly let him in. Young Master Fian, you're here so late? After Qin Fian parked his car, he wanted to get out of the car to open the door for Yi-Er. However, the moment he turned off the engine, Yi-Er opened the door and jumped out. Yi-Er knew that Ouyang Yen came from a good family. In the past, the Yun family was considered a wealthy family, but they were not related to such a family. Today, when she entered the villa, she did not care about how big it was. She directly asked the servants, "Where is Jiang Zhao?" That. The servant on night duty stammered. Qin Fian chased after Yi-Er and pulled her back. Sister-in-law, calm down. Let's ask about the situation first. What if brother isn't here? Not here? I said he's here. Yi-Er shook off Qin Fian's hand. Yi-Er, the tall wooden door opened and Ouyang Xing walked out of the villa. He was wearing pajamas and looked like he had just climbed out of bed. It's really Yi-Er. It's already so late. Yi-Er bowed to Ouyang Sheng according to the rules of the family. Fourth grandfather, sorry to disturb you. I'm here to see Jiang Zhao. Qin Fian also bowed to Ouyang Xing, bowed and raised his hand. Fourth grandpa, I'm really sorry. I can't get through to my brother's phone. Sister-in-law is a little anxious. Oh Zhao Zhao, didn't you go back? He went back. He went back. Yi-Er and Qin Fian asked in unison. I fell asleep right after he left. I drank some wine at night, but I still asked the driver to drive him back in his car. At this time, the servant on night duty said, Master, no, young Master Zhao came back right after you fell asleep. What? He came back. Why didn't I know? Ouyang Xing was shocked. He did come back. He said he had something to discuss with Miss Yen. Later the two of them went upstairs. We didn't ask. The servant answered, honestly. Yi-Er's head heated up. She couldn't care less about the etiquette of family friends. At this moment she could forget about being dignified, reserved, and generous. She directly walked past Ouyang Sheng and ran up to the second floor. She pushed open the doors one by one. Qin Fian didn't lose Yi Er's composure. Even if he was in a hurry he could only take big strides. But just as he reached the staircase, he heard Yi Er cry out in unbearable pain, "Ah!" Qin Fian paused in his steps and ran up the stairs with big strides. He looked through the rooms one by one. Finally he saw Yi Er in a room with pink hues. He thought to himself, this is the end. Yi Er stood in front of the bed and saw Jiang Zhao and Ouyang Xing hugging each other shirtless. They were both in deep sleep. It was probably because her scream was too loud. Ouyang Yen was the first to wake up. Jiang Zhao was pushed awake by Ouyang Yen. When he opened his eyes and saw Yi Er, he frowned and called out softly, "Yi Er? Yinyi?" It was one thing to see a bloody killing scene in a movie. It was another thing to be thrown into a bloody killing scene and participate in a battle for life. It was just like Yi Er's feelings at this moment. Yi Er had told herself countless times that if she didn't see it, she would pretend that it didn't happen. But she would always wake up from her self-hypnosis. Jiang Zhao always said that she was a little fox, but she always felt that Jiang Zhao was a ferocious tiger. Someone once said that interracial love would not end well. She felt that she was made of steel. Really, she always felt that she was a tall building made of steel and gold cement. Even a magnitude 8 earthquake couldn't do anything to her. She was thick-skinned. She wasn't afraid. Yinyi. When Jiang Zhao realized that something was wrong, he immediately lifted the covers and got out of bed. When he lifted the covers, he realized that he wasn't wearing anything. Timdi. Yi Er smiled. In the end, Jiang Zhao, this soft knife, still killed her with his own hands. He killed her almost instantly, slaughtering all of her overflowing love. She always felt that Jiang Zhao was a good person. Jiang Zhao was a responsible person. It didn't matter. She was his first wife. She was despicable and shameless first. She was despicable and dirty later. She always wanted to pay him back. She wanted to make herself clean and keep showing off in front of him. One day he would realize how good she was. Yi Er looked at Jiang Zhao. She couldn't control her tears. She wanted to control them. At least, she didn't want to embarrass herself in front of Ouyang Yen. But she couldn't do it. Yi Er was a little shaky. But when she looked like she was about to fall, she immediately stood up straight. Pia. Yi Er slapped herself hard on the left side of her face. Jiang Zhao, this slap is to punish me. I shouldn't have threatened you at that time. I'm sorry. To Jiang Zhao, this slap was even more painful than the slap to his own face. Everyone in the room was shocked. Jiang Zhao turned sideways and grabbed Ouyang Yan's arm. He used a lot of strength. His eyes were bloodshot as he shouted, "Where are my clothes?" Ouyang Yan was in so much pain that he kept twitching. He felt like his bones were about to break. How would I know? You took them off yourself. Don't you know? Yi Er slapped herself on the right side of her face again. She used a lot of strength in this slap. She slapped herself so hard that blood flowed out of her mouth. She knew that she had to end this. She had to be more ruthless to herself. She didn't care about the tears on her face. She also didn't care about the blood at the corner of her mouth. But there was a smile on her face. Jiang Zhao, this slap is my fault. I shouldn't have forced you to marry me. I'm sorry. Jiang Zhao shouted at Qin Fian. Qin Fian. You better King get out. Or hold her back. Qin Fian couldn't react in time. He immediately grabbed Yi Er's hand. Sister-in-law, calm down. Yi Er lowered her head and bit Qin Fian's hand. She bit Qin Fian until he cried out in pain. Yi Er glared at him fiercely. Fian, let go. Let go. Yi Er's voice didn't fluctuate much. It was like a leaf falling off the branch in autumn. If there was wind, it would float. If there was no wind, it would fall. Jiang Zhao found his underwear under the covers. At this time he couldn't think about the whole story. He only knew that it was useless to say anything now. He put on his pants and jumped off the bed. Fian, get out. Brother's sister-in-law is also anxious about this. You. Qin Fian didn't know what to do at this time. It was better for him to leave early. When he went out, he also pushed Ouyang Xing out and closed the door. Yi Er looked at Jiang Zhao with contempt, disdain, and hatred. Jiang Zhao reached out to hug her, but he only held her arm. Yi Er was like a soap bubble. He was afraid that it would burst with a touch. Yinyi, listen to me. I didn't. Why are you explaining to me? Jiang Zhao, you don't have to explain to me. Take your filthy hand away. Yi Er smiled again. Jiang Zhao let go and raised his hand again. He wanted to wipe away the tears on her face and the blood at the corner of her mouth. He wanted to touch the fingerprints on her face. But she smiled again. That smile was like a blunt knife that stabbed straight into his heart. His heart was like a knife that was being cut open with great difficulty. It was so painful that his whole body was trembling. In the past he wanted her to be jealous. He wanted her to scream at him because of Ouyang Yin. But the result was not like this. Yinyi, listen to me. I didn't. I promise I didn't. Jiang Zhao only said that he didn't. He didn't do anything. His mind was in a mess. A large part of his memory was blank. Jiang Zhao, let go. I owe you. I've repaid the 2 slaps on your face, right? Jiang Zhao had never seen Yunyi fall out with him like this. He was suddenly afraid and grabbed her elbow again. No, Yunyi, you didn't. You owe me more than that. More than that. Yi Er roared back fiercely. I don't care. I admit that I've wronged you. I'm shameless. I'm cheap. I only have myself to blame for all of this. I admit it. I deserve it. But I don't owe Ouyang Yin anything. She slept with my man. I can't let her go. If you dare to stop me today, I'll fight you too, you adulterous couple. Yi Er pushed Jiang Zhao away. She put on her shoes and stepped onto Ouyang Yan's bed. She rushed over and pressed Ouyang Yan, who was watching the show with her shoulders bare, onto the bed. Bia. She slapped Ouyang Yan. Ouyang Yan. I'm slapping you this time because you're shameless. You seduced a married man. Bia. Another slap. I'm slapping you this time because you're shameless. You seduced my Yunye's man. Yunyi, you're crazy. You're a shrew. Ouyang Yan wanted to resist, but Yi Er was already an angry beast. She had endless brute force. She wanted to be a shrew at this moment. She rode the Ouyang Yan. She was wearing thick clothes and had the advantage. When her hands were long enough to grab the Ouyang Yan's face, she kneeled down on the Ouyang Yan's hands. She couldn't hurt herself at all. Pia? When the 3rd slap landed outside the door, Ouyang Sheng was hugged by Qin Fian. 4th Grandpa, don't go in. Let them settle it themselves, okay? Fian, let go. It's Yun Yun who's being hit right now. Yi Er's hand that was grabbing Ouyang Yan's chin was trembling. She gritted her teeth and cursed. Every cell in her body was exploding, so exploding that her entire body was shaking. Ouyang Yan, I'm slapping you this time because you're a whore. You're AF * king whore. Jiang Zhao stood at the end of the bed and coldly picked up his shirt from the floor and put it on. Ouyang Yan looked at Jiang Zhao silently putting on his shirt and buttoned up his sleeves. She weakly begged for help. Second brother. Save me. Pull her away. She's crazy. Attention, Song Shu 566. Chapter 619. Jiang Zhao remembered that Yi Er had said that if he dared to stop her, she would fight him to the death. He would not stop her. He was just wondering why she did not rush over to hit him. Jiang Zhao put on his clothes with a blank expression. He remembered that he had gotten into the car, and the driver had said that he would drive the car back to the 9th mansion. How did he wake up and find himself sleeping naked on the bed with the Ouyang Yan? The door was suddenly pushed open. It was Ouyang Sheng and a servant. Yi Er was riding the Ouyang Yan. Jiang Zhao sat at the end of the bed with his back facing the fight. He was thinking about the problem he wanted to solve. When Ouyang Sheng came in and saw it, he was so angry that his blood pressure rose. He pointed at Yi Er on the bed and shouted, Yi Er! Get this crazy woman off the bed. Jiang Zhao stood up and grabbed the servant who was approaching the bed fiercely. He said calmly, let her hit me. After hitting that one, she still has to hit me. Only then will she be able to vent her anger. Jiang Zhao quickly froze himself. His voice was close to emotionless. He did not try to persuade or pull Yi Er away. He felt that Yi Er was right. He would wait for her to hit him until she was done venting her anger. Ouyang Sheng's eyes widened in disbelief. Jiang Zhao, are you just going to watch her hit Yun Yun? Both the Ouyang Yan and I deserve to be hit. You came back on your own. Ouyang Sheng's words were loud and clear. Jiang Zhao seemed very calm at this moment. I don't know if I came back on my own. I don't remember what happened last night. You don't remember? Just by saying that you don't remember, you're pushing all the blame away? Responsibility? The one I should be responsible for has lost her rationality. Who do I need to be responsible for? Ouyang Sheng did not expect Jiang Zhao to be so cold-blooded. In Ouyang Sheng's eyes, Jiang Zhao had feelings for the Ouyang Yan. He just needed a catalyst. After someone catalyzed him, the suppressed feelings would explode. Grandpa, save me. The Ouyang Yan's face was almost swollen beyond recognition. Ouyang Sheng shouted again, Wake everyone up and throw this crazy woman out. Jiang Zhao looked into Ouyang Sheng's eyes and smiled dangerously. There's no need for you to do it. Walking to the head of the bed, she held Ye's hand and said gently, Yunyi, let's go home. Go home. Where's home? Get lost. Ye struggled to escape from Jiang Zhao's hand. Ouyang Yin seized the opportunity to counterattack, but Jiang Zhao quickly let go of Ye and pressed down on Ouyang Yan's raised hand. Ye looked at him and slapped him across the face again. Despicable. How can you do such a shameless thing? You still have the face to fight back? Ouyang Yin was ready to throw caution to the wind. Now that she was pressed down by Jiang Zhao and allowed Ye to slap her, she could no longer throw caution to the wind. She screamed hysterically, Grandpa! At this moment, the servants outside the room rushed into the room. Under Ouyang Sheng's orders, they all wanted to pull Ye away. Jiang Zhao's eyes were cold. He still could not sort out what happened last night, but he knew that Ye needed to vent. No one could stop her. No one could hurt her. He lifted his long leg and kicked a burly man in the abdomen. When he put down his leg, he patted his pants and said coldly, This is between the three of us. No one else should interfere. You must interfere. You must throw this Yunyi out of the family Ouyang. Ouyang Sheng shouted again. Qin Fian saw that this situation was not going to work. If he continued to pretend to be a gentleman, something big would happen. He took off the glasses on the bridge of his nose and threw them aside. He rushed over to the servant holding Ye by the back of her collar and threw her to the floor. He crouched down and punched the servant in the face. The room was suddenly in chaos. Ouyang Sheng ordered that Ye be thrown out, but he did not say that Jiang Zhao and Qin Fian were to be hit. These two young masters were not people that just anyone would dare to hit. Even if Ouyang Sheng ordered them to be hit, they would not dare to hit them too hard. Jiang Zhao inexplicably felt that he had been wronged. He did not know where this feeling came from, but he just felt that he had been wronged. As time passed, he felt that he had been wronged even more. If he really had any improper thoughts towards Ouyang Yin, what thoughts did he have? Today, when he got out of bed with Ouyang Yin, he did not say a word and suffered what he deserved. But he did not. He could not figure out how he could have gotten into Ouyang Yan's bed. But it was too chaotic now. He could not figure it out. He also needed to vent. Among the messy people in the room who wanted to pull Ye away, he picked one to vent his anger and beat them up one by one. Ye was still beating the mistress without any distractions. Jiang Zhao angrily hit the servant who wanted to throw Ye out of the family Ouyang. Ye was beating them up happily. She vented all the anger and humiliation she had accumulated over the past few days. At this moment, she did not want to be rational, did not want to think about the consequences, did not want to compromise. She only wanted to be Mrs. Jiang in a dignified manner for once. In order to let her beat them up happily, the two men did not stop their hands and feet for a moment. Ye could not hear the falling and hitting in the room at all. At this time, Ouyang Yin and Ye were fighting so fiercely that they were lying on the bed. Ye was still riding Ouyang Yin and holding her hand tightly. He glanced at Ouyang Sheng and smiled at the messy people in the room. He laughed coldly and said, Do you want to see how your miss looks without her underwear and panties? I'll open your eyes, okay? Ouyang Sheng looked at the men and women in the room. He raised his hand and pointed at Ye. His fingertips were trembling as if they were cramping. Yin Ye, you dare. Haha, fourth master, you also want to see? I want to see your shameless and shameless granddaughter. What kind of figure does she have? Take a look at what kind of woman can seduce someone else's husband. Yin Ye, you vulgar woman. Ouyang Sheng felt that he was about to have a heart attack. Ye slowly pulled the quilt on Ouyang Sheng's chest. I'm vulgar. I can't play with the elegance of you people. Ouyang Yin anxiously shouted, Grandpa, tell them to get out. Tell them to get out. Yin Ye, don't do anything stupid. I won't do anything stupid. I'll pull it down bit by bit. I won't lift it up directly. I promise I won't do anything stupid. Ye's face still had the marks of her own fingers. When she smiled, she looked like a poppy with countless thorns. Ouyang Sheng had thought of many outcomes, but he never thought that Ye would throw caution to the wind like this. In his eyes, the scandals of the rich and powerful could be covered up and kept secret. In addition, Ye's father was in trouble. She wouldn't provoke Jiang Zhao. At this moment, he didn't dare to think too much about it. He asked the servants in the room to leave quickly. But he didn't dare to leave. Yin Ye had gone crazy. In fact, Ye was holding a knife to her own death by throwing a tantrum. She wanted to die faster. It would be good if she died. She wouldn't have to live like this anymore. She wanted to reward herself before she died. She wanted to release all the suppressed humanity in her. At this moment she didn't do it for anyone else. She only did it for herself, for her own comfort. At this moment she didn't want to be the glamorous Mrs. Jiang. She wanted to be the legal wife who could fight against the mistress, beat the mistress and kill the mistress. Even if it was only for a moment, even if she wouldn't be the legal wife in the future, she didn't care. She didn't want to be Mrs. Jiang anymore. Yi used all her strength to hit Ouyang Yen. Her hair was in a ponytail, but now the hairband was gone. Her long hair was spread out, messy and wet with sweat. Her palms were numb from the pain. No matter how many times she slapped Ouyang Yen's face, her heart was also slapped by herself. Every time she slapped Ouyang Yen she was slapping herself. She scolded Ouyang Yen for being cheap. She also scolded herself for being cheap. She scolded Ouyang Yen for being shameless. She also scolded herself for being shameless. The people in the room dispersed. Yi lost all her strength in an instant. She collapsed and leaned back. Before Ouyang Yen could sit up, Jiang Zhao quickly knelt on the bed, picked up Yi and carried her. Vian drive. Ouyang Xing pulled Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao, you can't leave like this. You have to give me an explanation for what happened today. Jiang Zhao knew that he had fallen into a trap. His eyes narrowed. He didn't have any respect for his elders. Instead he was full of provocation. Tell me, what explanation do you want? You and Yun must get married. Fourth master, do you want me to marry again? Jiang Zhao laughed. He called him fourth master, not fourth grandfather. Ouyang Sheng's body shook. Jiang Zhao, don't think that this matter can be settled. Then we'll settle it slowly. Settle it clearly. Jiang Zhao carried Yi and quickly walked down the stairs. After getting into the car, Jiang Zhao carried the unconscious Yi and asked Qin Fian, how did Yun Yi find us? Qin Fian touched the small bruise on his face and sighed. Brother, sister-in-law couldn't find you, so she ran to the apartment in the north of the city. Later she called me to ask for family Ouyang's address. She cried on the phone and said that we bullied her. She said that if I didn't bring her to find you, she would cause a ruckus at the family Ouyang's address. Sister-in-law is probably hurt this time. What do you think we should do? Jiang Zhao sat in the back seat and held Yi in his arms. He raised her head with his elbow and lowered it to her forehead. His other hand gently touched the bruises on her face. His ears were filled with the words she said at family Ouyang. She said she was sorry. Sorry. She said it was all gone. He didn't know how to suppress the pain in his chest at this moment. The skin under his fingertips was uneven. She was ruthless enough to do it. That was her own face. She really could do it. He was right in front of her. She didn't hit him. She hit herself. She hit Ouyang Yen. She only didn't hit him. At this moment he wanted to shake her awake and let her give him a good beating. He should have listened to her and gone home for dinner. Why did he care about his reputation? Why did he care about family ties? After what happened today, all of them were gone. I didn't turn off my phone myself. Jiang Zhao leaned his face against Yi's. Qin Fian drove. I know. At least you never turn off your work phone. I can't even get through to family Ouyang's landline. Brother, I think the Ouyang clan has teamed up to set a trap for you. I know too. Ouyang Xing wants to force me to get a divorce and marry Ouyang Yen. Brother, then are you going to marry Sister Yen? If I wanted to marry her, I wouldn't have married Yun Yi when she came back to High City. Jiang Zhao knew that Yun Hongwei would be angry if he brought Yi home like this. But at this time he had to bring Yi home. At least Yi would be a little concerned with Yun Hongwei at home. If they were outside, he didn't know what would happen today. He was afraid. When he thought of Yi saying, it was all gone, he felt a wave of fear. The person in his arms moved. Jiang Zhao sat up straight. Yi woke up and wanted to leave Jiang Zhao's arms. She struggled to no avail. Jiang Zhao, let go of me. Yun Yi, stop fooling around. Let's go home. Fian is still here. Let's not fool around here, okay? Fian? Fian saw everything. Why are you still pretending? Let's go home and fool around. You can fool around however you want. Let's not fool around outside, okay? No. Jiang Zhao, stay away from me. Come and see, Hongcha 866. Chapter 620. Jiang Zhao was a person who cared about his reputation, and he would not say anything to coax a woman in front of others. He would feel embarrassed. No matter what, a man should act like a man. The world belonged to men. A woman only needed to take care of the house and take care of the children. She did not need to be a strong woman like his mother. Strong women were too difficult to serve. Therefore he felt that obedient women were especially cute. He was used to Gigai's Yi Er, the obedient Yi Er. But from today onwards Yi Er would be different. Honey, let's stop fooling around. Let's go home and talk. Even if Qin Fian was here, he still coaxed her. Go home. Yi Er sat on Jiang Zhao's lap and was hugged tightly by him. Her nose twitched and tears rolled down her cheeks again. She looked out the window at the receding shadows of the trees, lights and thousands of high-rise buildings. I don't have a home anymore. I sold all my family's houses. After her father committed a crime, she lost her home. Qin Fian and Jiang Zhao had been brothers for many years, so he naturally knew Jiang Zhao's character. He held the steering wheel with one hand and plugged the earphone cable into the MP3 player. He put the earphones in his ears and began to listen to the music, humming a few lines from time to time. Although Jiang Zhao's words were gentle, his actions were very rough. He restrained the woman in his arms in any way he could. Yinyi, we are husband and wife. Our marriage certificate is stamped with a steel seal. Right? Yi Er turned her head and looked seriously into Jiang Zhao's eyes. When had his gaze ever been like this? In the past, when he said this, he was domineering and teasing, but he was not innocent. Pitiful. Now, the pitiful person was clearly the one who was pitiful, but he was pitiful. At this moment, she smiled bitterly. It was a kind of pain that neither heaven nor earth responded. This man really wanted to enjoy the happiness of having two wives. However, she could not hold on any longer. She shook her head and did not speak any more. If he wanted to hug her so domineeringly, then so be it. In any case, he was used to it. He was used to being so domineering. He was used to getting whatever he wanted and having others give him whatever he wanted. But in the future she wouldn't give it to him anymore. She couldn't afford it. Jiang Zhao saw that Yi Er had stopped arguing with him. She even smiled and shook her head. She did not speak, argue or make a fuss. He did not say a word. It was too quiet. It was so quiet that all the pores on his body were trembling with fear. Fear, he had felt it before. At that time, when she was in a car accident and unconscious, he felt fear every day. He watched as she turned her head away and looked out of the window. She didn't struggle, resist, or get angry. She just remained silent. He held her by the shoulder and shook her. Yunyi, go ahead and make a fuss. I don't care about you anymore. If you want to make a fuss, go ahead, alright? You can make a fuss however you want. Yi Er wanted to block out Jiang Zhao's voice from her eardrums, but she couldn't. Not to mention his voice, even his breath was burning her eardrums inch by inch. I've already made a fuss. Don't talk anymore. Let me be alone. Jiang Zhao, let me be alone, alright? No, he couldn't let her be alone. If she continued to be quiet, he didn't know what would happen. He smiled and said gently, Yunyi, let's talk. Yunyi, let's talk. Yunyi, we've been married for so long. I've been busy and haven't had the time to go on our honeymoon. Honeymoons are popular now. Let's discuss where we should go before we get married, alright? I haven't had a long vacation this year. I'll apply for a vacation in the next few days. Let's go out together. I'll take you to relax, alright? Yunyi, what kind of weather do you like? Is it the tropical scenery or the northern European snow sea? Or the blue sea or the soft beach? Or the rainforest? Yunyi, you're so good at cooking. Why don't we go to a few more countries and try the delicacies of those places? You're so smart, you'll definitely learn to be authentic. In the future, we can also eat authentic foreign food at home. It'll definitely be better than a 5-star restaurant. Yi took in a long breath. Her hair was very messy, and the parts of her hair that weren't in good condition looked very coarse. At this moment, her messy hair made her face look very small and very pale. Her shoulders had been drooping the whole time, and her neck was soft as if it had no bones. This long breath interrupted Jiang Zhao's vivid speech. Zhao, she was powerless, sighing, weak, slightly choked, and a touch of despair. The ripples in her eyes blurred the scenery outside the window. When Jiang Zhao heard this, he lowered his head and rested it on Yi Er's thin shoulder. He held her other shoulder tightly in his hand, and the bones in his hand rubbed against his nerves. His heart was filled with suppressed pain. That kind of pain could have been disguised by talking loudly, but when he heard her use that voice to call him affectionately in the past, the pain came and there was nowhere to hide. Yunyi, it's better if you don't say anything. I'm also very confused. Don't say anything. Don't tell me your feelings. Don't say anything, okay? Jiang Zhao was pulled by two opinions in his mind. One opinion was to let her talk more, let her make a fuss, don't let her be bored. The other opinion was to not let her say anything. The words that came out of her mouth would definitely not be good. It would definitely be something that he could not accept. He did not want her to say anything. Ah Zhao. The mist in her eyes was blinked out of her eyes, and the scenery in front of her became clear again. She saw through the night after the luxury faded away. It was too lonely. Even the asphalt road that was congested during the day was crying out for loneliness. It must have forgotten that during the day, it was blocking and cursing and swearing not to be a road. It hated how those four-wheeled and two-wheeled vehicles bullied it, how they did not cherish it, and how they did not know how to be grateful. When it was lonely, it felt that it was just a road. No one walked on it, no cars passed by it. Was it still called a road? Yi'er shook her head and smiled bitterly. It was a pity that she did not have the ability to withstand pressure like the asphalt road. She was afraid of being bullied, afraid of not being cherished. She hated that others could not see her efforts and did not know how to be grateful. She was selfish, afraid of pain, and knew how to retreat. She did not want to fight for it anymore. Ah Zhao, let's just leave it at that. Yunyi, you're all sweaty tonight. When we go back, let's take a shower. Let's take a hot bath, okay? Let's go out for breakfast as a family tomorrow morning. Don't cook at home. It's too tiring. Yi'er was just about to speak when Jiang Zhao immediately continued, not giving her a chance to interrupt. All right, I'll go home earlier tomorrow. Let's go watch a movie. I haven't watched a movie in a long time. I don't even remember what the director of the movie theater looks like. Jiang Zhao, don't talk anymore. Can you be quiet? Yi'er slowly exhaled. She was a little shaky and a little disorderly. Jiang Zhao was stunned. He looked at Yi'er's slouched shoulders and her chin. In the past, it was her who chattered endlessly. He always said, "Why are women so talkative?" It was all trivial matters. Today she was complaining that he was too long-winded. However, he did not want to stop. The moment he stopped, she would say, "Ah Zhao, let's just leave it at that." He knew that she wanted to say that. Even though he knew he did not want her to say it out loud. It didn't matter even if he talked to her until dawn. He didn't know how to deal with this matter. He was caught in bed, but he didn't feel guilty. He didn't feel guilty at all. He even felt that he was wronged. However, he did not dare to show that he was wronged. Jiang Zhao finally realized that he was also someone who bullied the weak and feared the strong. When Yi'er was soft, he would pinch her. He would pinch her however he wanted. Now that she was being tough, he could not take it anymore. He did not dare to pinch her for fear that he would crush her. Then you should be quiet for a while too, okay? If you don't talk, I won't talk. If you talk, I'll talk. Jiang Zhao buried his head in the crook of Yi'er's neck. His expression and tone were shameless. However, the arm around Yi'er's body was seriously carrying out his original intention. He did not dare to relax at all. The car turned into 9th Mansion. Qin Fian stopped the car in front of the building where Jiang Zhao lived. He pulled out his earplugs and looked at Yi'er, whose eyes were swollen like peaches. Sister-in-law, have a good rest. Do you want me to get someone to accompany you shopping tomorrow? I'll have a good rest. Fian, you should go back. It's been hard on you. I'm sorry for disturbing you today. Yi'er was polite and distant. She wanted to end this oppressive atmosphere as soon as possible. After getting out of the car, Yi'er watched as Qin Fian's car drove away. Her shoulder was still held by Jiang Zhao. Jiang Zhao, let go. I feel a little disgusted being hugged by you like this. When Yi'er said this, her head was very low and her voice was also very low. At this time, although the street lights in 9th Mansion were shining brightly, there were no sounds of insects because it was the middle of winter. Because of the low temperature, the sound of breathing in the air was deliberately heavier, as if it was difficult to breathe. At the end of her voice, there was a sigh of relief. Jiang Zhao let go of her. Yunyi, about what happened today, I didn't ask you to forgive me. Yi'er pursed her lips and looked up at Jiang Zhao. She looked at his innocent face. He would never ask her to forgive him. He could have sex with Ouyang Yen anywhere he wanted. He had already given her a lot of face today. He let her, the first wife, bask in the limelight outside. He could hit the second wife however he wanted. Should she kneel down and kowtow to him? Jiang Zhao continued. You can punish me. I've done something wrong, so I should be punished. Jiang Zhao's mind was in a knot again. He turned around and punched the stone door pillar. What was he doing? It was just admitting his mistake. Why was he so unwilling to admit his mistake? He clearly wanted her to forgive him, but he felt that he wasn't in the wrong. He wanted to slap himself. How did he become so stubborn? Jiang Zhao, let's go back. Let's talk. Yi'er turned around and went into the building. Jiang Zhao quickly chased after Yi'er and pulled her back. Yunyi. He looked at Yi'er's blank expression. She wasn't as agitated as she was at the family Ouyang. However, God's sorrow sighed. The fingerprints on her face constantly reminded him that he was the one who had slapped her. Although she had done it herself, he was the one who had slapped her. Not only had he slapped her face, but he had also slapped her somewhere he couldn't see. Yunyi, Daddy is at home. Jiang Zhao knew that he was being despicable at this moment. He knew what Yi Er wanted to talk to him about and what she wanted to argue with him about. Yi Er had always been calm. Even if she wasn't, she would pretend to be calm. She had been like this from the beginning when he first met her. She was clearly afraid and timid, but she dared to look into his eyes without blinking. No matter how coldly and fiercely he threatened her, she didn't back down. He knew that she could pretend. Just like now. She was clearly upset, but she was using a blank expression to hide it. She had to pretend to be calm. He couldn't go along with her. He knew that he was in the wrong. Although he also felt that it was ridiculous, he couldn't let her do as she pleased. He despicably hinted to her that there was an elderly person at home. They couldn't quarrel. They had to be harmonious and couldn't hurt the elderly. He knew that she was filial and could never bear to let Yun Hongwei worry about her happiness. He knew that she would smile in front of Yun Hongwei, but he was worried that she wouldn't be able to continue pretending. He was worried that she would make a fuss. He was worried that Yun Hongwei would force them to divorce. Welfare Hongcha 866. Chapter 621. Smiled bitterly and shook her head again. Jiang Zhao had lost count of how many times he had seen her smile like this tonight, and every smile was bitter. He suddenly wondered if he had never given her a sweet life. When he looked at her, said, "Yeah, I know. I still want you to help me with Dad's matter, but Jiang Zhao, we still have to talk about what happened today. I won't argue with you. Regarding Dad's matter, if you're willing to help me in the future, then help me. If you're unwilling to help me, then I'll think of another way. I won't make things difficult for you again. I won't make things difficult for you. You have to be free too." Jiang Zhao heaved a sigh of relief. At this moment he finally understood the meaning behind her smile. He had misunderstood. He reached out and rubbed his face. That's right, the problem she was most worried about was not what he was thinking, but Yun Hongwei's case. Since when did he think that she cared about letting Yun Hongwei see her happy? Forget it all. No matter what, you don't want Dad to worry, right? Alright, I'll be careful. Let's go up, sit down and have a good talk, okay? Yi Er didn't want to argue anymore. She walked to the elevator door and reached out to press the button. Jiang Zhao walked to her side. "Yunyi, when we get home I'll help you apply the medicine. There's a mirror at home. Have you forgotten?" Yi Er looked coldly at the numbers that were coming down. Jiang Zhao looked up and closed his eyes. She didn't even need him to apply the medicine. The elevator door opened. Jiang Zhao reached out to grab Yi Er's shoulder. Yi Er said, "Didn't I tell you? Don't touch me." Jiang Zhao's arm hung awkwardly in the air. He felt that he was especially shameless at this moment. Really, he had clearly done something wrong to her, yet he still wanted to thicken his skin and try to get closer to her. She already despised him, yet he still wanted to treat her words as if they were her words. Her words were bullshit. He had never been so thick-skinned in his life outside. But what could he do? He watched as the elevator door was about to close. He stepped in with his long legs and said angrily as usual, "Why didn't you wait for me? You didn't even wait for your husband. What are you trying to do?" Yi Er felt that if he treated her as a normal person, he would know that she wasn't in the mood to talk nonsense with him. Yi Er didn't say a word. The elevator went up steadily and quickly, but Jiang Zhao felt like a year had passed in this quiet space. The elevator finally let out a ding sound, breaking this damned suffocating atmosphere. He followed Yi Er out of the elevator. The two of them walked towards the door of the living room. After opening the door, Yi Er stood with her back facing the door. When Yun Hongwei opened the door and called for them, Yi Er reached out and wrapped her arms around Jiang Zhao's neck. She kissed him. Although Jiang Zhao knew that Yi Er was afraid that Yun Hongwei would see the wound on her face, he still kissed her passionately. When he hugged her body and sucked on her lips, he sent his breath into her mouth. It was always easy to get excited when their saliva collided. Especially now, when his large hand moved from her back to the back of her neck. His fingers dug into her hair and rubbed her scalp. Those were all feelings that he could always feel whenever he reached out his hand. His mind was blank and he couldn't recall that memory no matter how hard he tried. He only knew that he had fallen asleep due to exhaustion. He slept very soundly and that was it. Tonight he wanted to tell her that it was a misunderstanding. But even he didn't understand the situation. How could he have the courage to tell her that it was a misunderstanding? When Yun Hongwei opened the door, he saw the couple kissing passionately. He immediately turned his back. "Yi-er, I'm going to sleep first. Don't stand outside. Rest early. Jiang Zhao still has to work tomorrow." He spoke very quickly. After he finished speaking, he ran back to his room as if he was escaping. Yi-er heard the sound of footsteps fading away. She heard the sound of the door closing and locking. She let go of Jiang Zhao's neck. Jiang Zhao hugged her even tighter. "Yun Yi, go in." She pushed him away slowly with both hands on his chest. Then she turned around and went in to change her shoes. Today, she didn't get Jiang Zhao a pair of slippers. She also didn't put his shoes back into the shoe cabinet. Jiang Zhao opened the shoe cabinet and took out his slippers. She took off her slippers and put them on the floor. After changing, she put her leather shoes back into the shoe cabinet and closed the door. He stood there in a daze for a long time. He didn't want to go upstairs. He wanted to escape. After hesitating for a long time, he still closed the door and went upstairs. When he entered the bedroom, he saw that Yi-er had only taken off her coat and was applying ointment to her face. He closed the door and locked it. Then he walked over and took a chair to sit beside Yi-er. "Yin Yi, let me apply it for you." He reached out to take the small round glass box in Yi-er's hand. Yi-er raised her hand and avoided him. She said calmly, "The mirror is quite convenient. There's no need." Jiang Zhao retracted his hand resentfully. After Yi-er finished applying the ointment, she looked at herself in the mirror. The finger marks on the right side of her face were higher than the right side. Her eyes were swollen too. She had cried today. Luckily Dad didn't see her like this. Jiang Zhao stood up and stood behind Yi-er. His palm rested on her shoulder. "Yin Yi, let's sleep." "Okay." Yi-er also stood up. "Go and take a shower. Do me a favor and don't let me smell another woman on you." Jiang Zhao said, "Okay." But he didn't forget to check if the door was locked from the inside before he went to the bathroom. Jiang Zhao went into the bathroom and almost casually applied the shower gel on his body before quickly rinsing it off. He wiped the water off and went back to the bedroom. He found that Yi-er was already sitting up and leaning against the headboard. He felt relieved and pulled the blanket aside. He lay down. Yi-er sat there and tilted her head to look at Jiang Zhao. In the past she would have thought that she was an eyesore, but now she suddenly didn't care. She had ended up like this because she cared too much about him. Originally she wouldn't have been heartbroken or hurt. His cheating had nothing to do with her. But now that she cared about him, she cared about his behavior. She cared about whether his body or heart belonged to someone else. During this process she was in great pain. She had always thought that she could bear this pain and that she could completely control and regulate it. But what happened today made her realize that she couldn't regulate it. It was just that nothing had happened that could release the pain that she had been suppressing. Today she had released it. The pain was like needles on her back, chest, body, and heart. It was everywhere. When the pain reached its peak, she needed to be numb and numb. She needed to give up all her senses and give up on the source of the pain. Everyone yearned for happiness and feared pain. She had always thought that pain could be exchanged for happiness. But the person she fell in love with was Jiang Zhao, a man with a mistress. So her pain was destined to not be exchanged for happiness. It would only be more painful. She breathed out shakily and called out his name with a trembling voice. "Jiang Zhao." Jiang Zhao turned around and adjusted the blanket. "Yin Yi, I'm very sleepy. It's too late. If you have anything to say, let's talk tomorrow." Jiang Zhao, actually between us? Yi-er heard the man's even breathing. Although it was even, it was much heavier than usual. It was as if he was afraid that others couldn't hear that his breathing was even. Yi-er raised her head and leaned against the soft back of the bed. When she stared at the ceiling, tears fell from the corners of her eyes. Her life was deformed. When she was the daughter of a wealthy family, it was just like what her mother said. She didn't behave like the daughter of a wealthy family at all. Now that she was in dire straits, she learned how to conduct herself. She could actually change roles so quickly. At that time, she knew that there was a kind of human nature that was forced out of her. Ever since her father went to prison, she hadn't been able to be herself properly. Whenever she met people with power and influence, she had to be pleasant and pleasant. She always felt that if there was any chance that she could build a relationship with her father, she wouldn't let it go. She was deformed and twisted the complete human nature that she should have. She was already used to using those things on her husband. However, she didn't get the love she wanted. All she got was betrayal. In fact, she really wanted to live for herself. Really, purely for herself. Just like that night when she beat up the Ouyang Yen. At that time she felt so good that she didn't care about anything. She wasn't afraid of anyone. She just dared to go all out. If we get divorced, you won't care about my father anymore, right? The sound of her sniffling was a little loud. She reached out and pulled the tissue from the tissue box on the bedside table. She rolled it into a ball and rolled it over her eyes. She knew that with Jiang Zhao's status, he wouldn't divorce easily unless he was really widowed. Jiang Zhao closed his eyes and continued to breathe. He listened to her sniffling. He also wanted to take a piece of tissue for her to wipe her tears. He also knew that he had let her down today. He would just pretend that he was shameless to the end. Anyway, he hadn't thought of how to talk about it now. He would just deal with it like this. If she wanted to quarrel, he would let her quarrel. If she wanted to make a fuss, he would let her make a fuss. He would just not respond. He didn't want to talk. He didn't want to talk to her. He didn't want to say a word. He knew that as long as he said a word, her grievances would come more violently. She would want to say things like, forget it, and divorce even more. In short, he would say all these things. He wouldn't talk to her about these things. He also knew that she was really wronged. He had wronged her. He would just treat him as a good-for-nothing. He would make it up to her in the future. Now wasn't the best time to talk. He had to avoid the topic that she wanted to talk about. Jiang Zhao, Yi Er knew that Jiang Zhao wasn't asleep. If he was, he wouldn't be lying on his side like this. Even his shoulders were stiff. She knew that his back was stiff under the blanket. He was just passively resisting her. He just didn't want to get a divorce. He didn't want to argue with her. Jiang Zhao, actually, I don't want a divorce at all. Really? Her throat seemed to be on fire. Her mouth was very dry, so she stuck out her tongue and licked her lips. When she licked the wet and salty liquid, she thought that it could quench her thirst. Instead, she became even thirstier. You have such good conditions. You're so good looking. You're so tall. Your family is so rich. You have such a strong background. You're also highly educated and have a high working status. I think that there is no man in this world who is more outstanding than you. Wah. Yi Er covered her mouth and started crying. Her tears diluted the ointment on her face. She kept wiping away her new tears with tissue, causing her face to hurt a little. Jiang Zhao, who was under the blanket, clutched the bedsheets tightly. He closed his eyes. He thought that he was done for. He was really done for. Because Yi Er said that she actually didn't want a divorce. But she didn't say it. But he wouldn't agree to it. Impossible. Just treat him as a bastard. He wouldn't get a divorce. Jiang Zhao. Yi Er's voice was getting more and more nasal. She cried until her temples and nose hurt. She couldn't breathe, so she exhaled through her mouth. Jiang Zhao, I don't know why I lost to you just like that. I used to think that I could afford to lose, but now I realize that I can't afford to lose. Do you still remember our bet? Jiang Zhao's heartstrings were greatly shaken. He suddenly opened his eyes and his vision was hazy. His temple, which was leaning against the pillow, was wet. He didn't know when it started, but it had actually become wet. The dense pain in his heart was clearly transmitted to his nerves. Jiang Zhao, although I love you and have loved you for a long time, I still want a divorce. I don't want to please you anymore. I don't want to humiliate myself. It's fine if you don't help me with Dad's matter. I know that you asked me to get close to Xia Qian in the past so that she could use the media to expose the mastermind. I won't let Xia Qian take this risk. I will bear all the consequences. Now, I just want a divorce. Xinwu 799. Chapter 622. Jiang Zhao knew that he did not hear wrongly. She said that she had lost. She said that she loved him. It was as if the dark sky was suddenly split open by lightning, and the world was illuminated by the white light. Almost instantly he turned over and sat up. His upper body was still naked, and there was not a trace of excess flesh on his muscular body. She said that she wanted him to do a good deed and wash away the smell of other women. He did not know if he had washed himself clean. At that time he only wanted to deal with her first and not let her run away. He did not know where this thought came from, but he kept feeling that she was going to run away. Perhaps it was because he had accidentally changed the channel on TV. After being caught in bed, women usually ran away from the door. Although she did not run away at that time, she could vent. After that, he always had a thought that she would leave him at any time when he was not paying attention. This feeling made him feel unsafe at all. He was so flustered that he felt like a cat's claws could scratch him at any time. Yi Er did not take a shower. She only took off her coat and wore a round-neck sweater. She was still wearing her pants and socks. She just sat on the bed and had no intention of sleeping at all. She looked at Jiang Zhao. She saw that his eyelashes were still a little wet, and she saw that he was looking at her in a daze. She did not know which sentence of hers had touched this man so much. It turned out that he could also be touched. After hurting her, he was touched to the point that his eyes were filled with soft heartache and reluctance. Yunyi, Jiang Zhao leaned over and hugged Yi Er. His arms tightened and he used force to pull her into his embrace. He wrapped his palm around her head and let her face lean against his. The tears on her face were sticky with the ointment. The ointment smelled of mint, but he could smell the salty tears. It was very clear. The lines of her sweater rubbed against his skin. It was a little itchy, but when he touched her and felt her tremble, he felt that it hurt to touch her. Yunyi, can you forgive me? At first he said that he did not ask for her forgiveness. No matter how she punished him, he deserved it. But now he hoped that she would forgive him. If she forgave him, this page would be over. If she forgave him, they could continue to live a good life. He knew that he was a jerk, but he still wanted her to turn the page. He had never thought that he would hear the word love from Yi Er's mouth. She had said that she had fallen in love with him a long time ago. Was he too slow to react, or was he too caught up in the way they knew each other? And the medium that brought them together? His heart felt like it had been covered with glue, and someone had quickly dried it with a hairdryer. The glue had dried and shrunk, causing his heart to tighten. He wanted her love, but he didn't want to get it by ending their marriage. He would rather she never say it out loud. Yunyi, Jiang Zhao, Yi Er's face was pressed against Jiang Zhao's. She felt that his face was a little hot, like the carbon dioxide exhaled from his pores was scalding. You don't need my forgiveness. Jiang Zhao, Yi Er shouted a few times in her heart. His breath was too hot and his voice was too bewitching. She was most afraid that he would treat her well. Even if it was just a little bit would make her endlessly grateful. She would wag her little tail to please him. This way she could get more next time. Even if he had not treated her well at this time and just called her Yunyi gently, her heart started to flutter, and her heart started to beat. He did not call her Ouyang Yan. He called her Little Fox and he called her Yunyi. There was no Yi Er. Yunyi. When she first heard him call her Yunyi, she felt that it was not very intimate. It was as if he was ordering her around. Later he felt that it was fine even if he did not call her Yunyi. Yunyi, at least to him, was still considered special. Actually, she was just a cloud floating in the sky with nowhere to rely on. Although she had once thought that Jiang Zhao was her sky, the sky was too big and there was no place for her to stay. At this time, the warm sunlight from him and the Ouyang Yan had finally accumulated more moisture in her body. The dark clouds were dense and she was going to be free. It fell and turned into rain. She could only rely on the mountains and rivers. It's not like that. I need Yunyi, I need your forgiveness. I know that it's useless for me to say anything now. Please forgive me. The man's palm hugged the woman's shoulder and lifted her away. He looked into Yi Er's eyes. Yunyi, forgive me. Let's live well. I'll definitely make it up to you in the future. I didn't treat you well in the past, so I'll treat you even better in the future, okay? Apprehension, uneasiness, embarrassment, heartache, regret. There was no word that could describe his current feelings. Even if all of them were added together, it would still not be enough. Asking for but not getting. Getting from nothing. Getting and fading away. He experienced all these processes in an instant. He always thought that he could not get what he wanted. Suddenly she said that she loved him. Suddenly he got what he wanted. Suddenly she said that she did not want him anymore. Jiang Zhao, Yi Er brushed away Jiang Zhao's hand and lay down. She was like a female corpse lying down straight. The tight sweater wrapped around her body, and he could see the ups and downs of her emotions caused by her breathing. Jiang Zhao, marriage is not like my parents. It's not like yours and it's definitely not like ours. Yi Er closed her eyes. She did not look at Jiang Zhao's shadow when she spoke. Otherwise she would not be able to continue. Only a loving family will have happiness. Jiang Zhao, I'm too tired. The feeling of fighting alone is too scary. No one can be strong enough to declare war on an army with a suit of armor. I shouldn't have made that bet with you back then. I lost so badly. Jiang Zhao clenched his fists and held his breath. The sound of a woman taking a deep breath was the most commonly heard sound in this room. Only by doing so could she breathe again. Er raised her wrist and placed it on her eyes. Tears flowed down her cheeks. Shouldn't people who can't afford to lose cry? Ching Su said that if you shed too many tears, it would turn into horse urine. She had also thought about not crying anymore, but she also knew that sometimes people would be forced to be strong, and sometimes they would be forced to not be strong. I'm not as pretty as her, not as gentle as her, not as dignified as her, not as sensible as her, not as educated as her, not as good 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 as her. Not as good as her, 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 not as good as her. Not as good as her, 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 not as good as her. Not as good as her, 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 not as good as her. Not as good as her, 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 not as good as her. Not as good as her. No matter how sad I was, I didn't dare to make you angry. I wanted to smile at you, I wanted to act in front of you, I wanted to be good, I wanted to be obedient, I wanted to be magnanimous like Ouyang Yen. I learned from Ouyang Yen and forgot about myself. When I was trying to please you, I treated you as my everything, but I didn't have a place in your heart. Wu. Yi Er suppressed her voice, but she could still feel the heart-wrenching pain. The past reappeared in front of her eyes. He ruthlessly told her that not just anyone could threaten him, not just anyone could provoke him. He tore her apart and punished her. He smiled wickedly and asked her, "Sexual bribery?" Under the shade of the tree, his eyes were cold as he said, "Yun, what are you doing?" She was full of confidence and looked up to meet his eyes. "Jiang, I want to marry you." She clenched her fists and cheered herself on. "Go for it, Yunyi, this man is yours." She rushed to the apartment in the north of the city and dragged him, who was fully dressed, out of the Ouyang Yan's bed and dragged him home. She rushed to the family Ouyang's old residence and watched the naked him find his underwear and get out of bed. Along the way, she was exhausted and felt that she could not love him anymore. She did not know why she was so brave at that time. Step by step she was so brave. When he tore her apart, she dared to talk to him. When he ignored her, she dared to go to his door and bribe him. When he had someone he loved, she dared to sabotage him. She rushed out and set him up. She got Xia Qian to find a lot of equipment to threaten him and force him to marry her. Even if he had someone he loved, she dared to cheer herself on and swear that this man was hers. Now that she thought about it, it was so funny. What right did she have to dare to do that? She was really the most arrogant woman in the world. She was just a woman who did not have anything she wanted. Yer breathed out shakily. There were droplets of water dripping down her face, but her breath was all transferred to someone else's mouth through their lips and teeth. The man's slightly cold lips were on her lips. He was kissing her softly, as if he was deeply in love with her and was struggling to move forward. "Yunyi, you didn't fight alone. Yunyi, I have nothing to do with the Ouyang Yen. We broke up many years ago and I didn't get together with her. Yunyi, I love you. I love you too." This explanation seemed to be too late. In the past he did not need to explain or expose her. He liked it when she was willing to be jealous. If he had known that this would be the outcome, he would not have tested her. He did not want to at all. Now, although he was confused about his affair, it was as if a nail had been hammered into a board. This was retribution, right? This was retribution for wronging her, right? "I love you too." When he said this, he did not feel that it was pretentious. In the past, he would have felt that it was pretentious to say these words. He listened. Those words that she said, those words that accused him, those words that accused him, he gritted his teeth and endured the pain in his heart. The pain came up. He heard her say that he was her everything, but she did not have a place in his heart. His heart was filled with her place, but he thought that he did not have a place in her heart. How much did he miss? What did he miss? If he did not miss it, she would not have been hurt like this today. She raised her wrist to cover her eyes. The finger marks on her face jumped out at any time, reminding him of his crimes. When he kissed her, he said, "Yunyi, I love you. I love you too." The low male voice played a beautiful movement in the room, circling around and not retreating. It was clearly a melodious cello, but at the end of the note, a sorrowful eru was added. The man choked softly, like a curse, like a shackle, suddenly shrouding the despairing woman lying on the bed. Ye had been digging her heart out by herself. Her hands were full of blood. She wanted to dig him out of her heart. She had finally dug it out with great difficulty, but he reached out a hand and squeezed it hard. After squeezing it, he ignored her pain and squeezed it hard. Attention, Song Shu 566. Chapter 623. All the blood in her body was flowing backward. The words, I love you too, released all the beasts in her heart, roaring and rushing out of her body. Ye covered her mouth, not letting Jiang Zhao kiss her again. She closed her eyes tightly, her other hand clutching the bedsheets under her. When she clutched them, all her joints turned green and white, as if she was going to crush the cotton bedsheets into powder. Her crying was suppressed and sorrowful, her body trembling like the autumn wind sweeping the leaves. Jiang Zhao bent over and hugged her, his forehead resting on her head. Seeing her cry like this, his heart ached unbearably. He didn't know how much sour liquid was poured into his heart, oppressing him heavily. Yinyi, I love you too. Forgive me. Ye wanted to cry loudly, very loudly, but her father was downstairs. She felt that her life was so oppressive. This man told her at this time that he loved her. He said that he loved her too. Suddenly she pushed Jiang Zhao away, jumped off the bed, rushed to the door and quickly turned the doorknob. Jiang Zhao also jumped off the bed and rushed over, but Ye had already rushed out of the door. In the family Ouyang's old mansion, the servants were trembling in fear, not daring to sleep. The main building's lights were all on. Ouyang Yen lay on the bed, staring blankly at the ceiling. She still didn't get up to put on her clothes, her body wrapped in the blanket. The family doctor was treating the wounds on her face. Her face was so swollen that it couldn't be seen clearly. Her cheeks had turned purplish red, and when swollen they looked bloody, forming a sharp contrast with her snow-white forehead. If a photo was taken and cut from the middle, no one would think that it was the same part of the face. Ouyang Xing stood at the side, like an ice sculpture, exuding a cold and terrifying aura. Grandpa. Ouyang Yen called softly. Yun, after you're done, have a good sleep. Grandpa, I feel terrible. Jiang Zhao just held my hand and asked Yunyi to hit me. I feel terrible. At this time her unwillingness had disappeared and was replaced by hatred. She thought that after today Jiang Zhao would not be able to deny it even if he wanted to. Didn't the rich and powerful care about their reputation? Moreover, Jiang Zhao's status was so different. The things he reported last time had already caused such a ruckus. If the fact that they had slept together was exposed, Jiang Zhao wouldn't be able to clear his name even if he had a mouth. In any case, she wanted him. If she wanted him, she didn't care what methods she had to use. She had thought that Yunyi would come looking for her. She couldn't wait for more. Last time in the northern part of the city, Yunyi did not dare to offend her at all. However, she did not expect that she would rush out today to make a scene. She also did not expect that Jiang Zhao would not help her at all. When Yunyi hit her, Jiang Zhao only sat at the end of the bed and silently put on his clothes and pants. It was as if there was a silent movie in the room. He did not even stop her. This made her hate him too much. Ouyang Xing thought about the scene that night and trembled in fear. Jiang Zhao and Qin Fian were not good people. At that time, if Qin Fian had not hugged him tightly outside the door, he would have entered the room long ago. Jiang Zhao, that bastard. Yunyi, that little bastard, dared to hit his granddaughter. He would teach her a lesson. Yun, have a good rest. You don't have to go to work tomorrow. I will help you inform the hospital. Ouyang Xing stood there and did not reach out to comfort her. He could not bear to look at her at all. He clenched his fists tightly. This was his most beloved granddaughter. When she was born, she weighed less than 4 kilograms. Even the doctor said that she could not be carried, but he insisted on keeping her. She had been with him since birth. He was the one who raised her single-handedly. Seeing this granddaughter of his grow up gave him an indescribable sense of accomplishment. The family Ouyang's assets could all be given to his grandson, but love? Grandpa, I can't accept this. Grandpa knows. Qin Fian left 9th Mansion but did not return to his own residence. Instead he called Shin Kai. In the middle of the night, Shin Kai's personal phone was turned off. However, his work phone could not be turned off. Qin Fian dialed Shin Kai's work number. He waited for the other side to ring for a while before picking up. Shin Kai's voice sounded very awake. Qin Fian knew that this was work training. No matter how sleepy he was, even if his eyes were not open, his work number's ringtone would ring. A professional would pick up the phone and calmly, politely and clearly say, "Hello, who is this? Shin Kai, are you still in a relationship with a beauty?" Shin Kai listened to such teasing and took the phone away from his ear. He rubbed his eyes and looked at the name saved. He closed his eyes again and pressed the phone to his ear. He jokingly said, "Young Master Qin, who are you with this time?" Fei Yan's car drove towards the south. "I have long heard that young Master Shin is unrestrained and unrestrained. His looks are better than Panin. This one's heart is itching unbearably. I really want to spend a night with young Master Shin. Are you interested? A chance encounter is better than an invitation. Why don't we come out for a drink?" Shin Kai frowned. At this time? He sat up from the bed and rubbed his temples to wake himself up quickly. He lifted the quilt and got off the bed. "Young Master Qin, I'm very expensive." Fei Yin looked at the road sign in front of him and remembered Shin Kai's residence. He smiled and said, "Young Master Shin, name a price. Someone I like. Do you think I can't afford it?" Shin Kai tilted his head and put on his clothes while talking nonsense with Qin Fian. "I also like luxury cars and mansions." Fei Yin laughed out loud. "As long as you like it, I'll give it to you." Shin Kai walked into the bathroom and turned on the tap. He reached out and took a handful of water. He splashed it on his face and rubbed it. This time he was completely awake. He looked at himself in the mirror and tidied his hair. He smiled mischievously. "And beauties, I also like them very much. Hurry up, I'm at the entrance of your neighborhood. Dress prettily. This young master won't shortchange you." Shin Kai took a coat and walked out of the bedroom. He changed his shoes at the entrance of the living room. "Do you still need to ask?" He changed his tone and asked very seriously. "Are you at South Gate or North Gate?" "North Gate. Do you want me to drive the car in?" Fei Yin took out a pair of spectacles from the front of the passenger seat and put it on. "No need. It's too troublesome to register. Later you'll have to call my door to inquire. Too annoying. I'm hanging up." He hung up the phone and put on the coat. He put the phone in his pocket and went out. Shin Kai got into Qin Fian's car and fastened his seat belt. "Where's the money?" "Money, house, car, beauties, I won't leave you out." Qin Fian smiled evilly. He started the car and leisurely said, "I'm afraid you'll go back on your word. Do you want to write a written agreement?" Qin Fian raised his phoenix eyes and glanced at Shin Kai, who was sitting in the passenger seat. He smiled and said, "And then I'll take the written agreement and report you to the prosecutor's office?" Shin Kai let out a long sigh and slapped his thigh. He said angrily, "See, profiteer. You set me up again." Qin Fian smiled. Today he came to find Shin Kai for the word, "set me up." Brother Kaizi. Shin Kai was the same age as Jiang Zhao and older than Qin Fian. In terms of age, it wasn't a big deal to call him that. But Shin Kai narrowed his eyes and glanced at Qin Fian, who was driving. He raised his hand and put it in gear. "Don't." He put his hand down and looked forward. "You can still call me young Master Shin. Shin Kai, Shin Yuan, Kaizi, all are fine. Don't add brother at the back. If you call me brother, nothing good will come out of it." Shin Kai understood the rules between the young masters of wealthy families very well. He knew that Qin Fian was looking for him for something today. Otherwise he wouldn't have called him so late at night to chat. Between the young masters of wealthy families in Haiqing, unless they were really related by blood, they wouldn't call him brother, if they were only a few years older than him. Once they called him brother, it must be something difficult. But why would Qin Fian look for him? Qin Fian drove the car to Qin Palace. "Fine, Kaizi, I'm too lazy to call you brother. I still want to act mature." "Hey, you're such a beautiful woman. Don't be mature. You're more attractive when you're younger." Qin Fian laughed shamelessly. "Ah, as long as you like it." In Xia Qian's words, Qin Palace was the most expensive and high-end place to take a bath in Haiqing. Xia Qian's dream was to go to Qin Palace to take a bath when she had money. But Qin Palace wasn't just a place to take a bath. It had food and entertainment. Using Jiang Zhao's words, Shin Kai was just a loafer after taking off his uniform. He was just a loafer that was so handsome that it was bubbling. The car stopped outside the hotel. Shin Kai acted like he had never seen the world. "Yo, young Master Qin, everyone knows that the best place in Qin Palace is to take a bath. There's only one hot spring in Haiqing and it's all occupied by you. So you're not taking me to the hot spring but to a hotel room? Isn't it better to warm up in the hot spring in a hotel room?" Qin Fian turned off the engine. In fact, Shin Kai had always found it interesting. Qin Fian was a well-known homosexual in Haiqing, but the rich young masters were not afraid of being involved with him. They were also not afraid of being misunderstood. They put their arms around each other's shoulders, and some even deliberately went up to him, saying that they wanted to flirt with him. Qin Fian didn't care if they were mocking or teasing him. He didn't reject them all and just played along. Look at how anxious you are. The CEO elevator went straight to the top floor of Qin Palace Hotel. Qin Fian sometimes stayed here. After opening the door, he flipped on all the lights. Then he asked Shin Kai whether he liked Chinese or Western food. He walked to the telephone and dialed the internal line, asking the kitchen to prepare some supper. The top floor was decorated according to the standard of a presidential suite. In Qin Fian's words, he had to experience the service here often to know how to improve it. In this regard, he was different from Jiang Rui, the eldest brother of the Jiang family. Jiang Rui also had the business of many five-star hotel chains in the country, but in his own hotel, he only had a luxury suite for himself to stay in occasionally. After the waiter left, Qin Fian invited Shin Kai to sit down at the table. Shin Kai looked at the high-end Chinese food on the table. Tell me, what's the purpose of this feast at Hongmen? Qin Fian personally poured wine for Shin Kai. The red wine in the decanter smelled fishy. It was red blood, and the blood on the wall was light as if it was washed with water. Feeling a little hungry, he ordered a steak for himself and drank some red wine. His movements were powerful and elegant as he smiled. Kaizi, that last Shin Xian came to the Qin Palace to take a bath that day with a male celebrity. A guest saw them and took a photo. It was a photo of the two of them kissing. Not only were they kissing, but they were also pinching, hugging, and rubbing. At that time, I was worried that the photo was too intimate, so I kindly took the camera down. It took a lot of effort. Attention, Songshu 566. Chapter 624. Haha. Shin Kai suddenly laughed. His voice reverberated through the luxuriously decorated room. Young Master Qin, you're simply a beast, haha. Don't talk nonsense. I have a reputation. A small square piece of steak had already been fixed on the shiny steel fork. With another devilish smile, he elegantly opened his mouth and placed the steak into his mouth, chewing slowly. Yes. Your reputation is becoming more and more of a beast. Shin Kai's face was smiling, but there was not much of a smile in his eyes. Who knew if that photo was a guest or someone else? Shin Xian, that girl is becoming more and more immature. Qin Fian clearly had nothing to do with the matter, but he still pretended to care about it. As if it was a family matter. Young people are free to love. You're also a big brother, can't you be more relaxed? Why don't I introduce a few male celebrities to your Feiyu as backup? A grown girl can't be kept at home. She's going to be married off anyway. Shin Kai looked at Qin Fian's phoenix eyes softly. At least he had one around. These rich and powerful families, who would want to be associated with those in the entertainment industry. Not to mention that the male celebrity Shin Xian was fooling around with was a rotten person. He had scandals with many rich women. How could the Shin family let Shin Xian be involved in those scandals? Feiyu is still young. You don't have to worry about her. My grandfather has already found a good family for her. Which family? Secret ha. Qin Fian was purely talking nonsense. How old was Feiyu? Even if she wanted to be engaged, she would have to graduate from high school. Of course, he knew that Shin Kai was only asking this to pass the time. In the process of asking, he must be weighing the pros and cons. Shin Kai was not in the mood to joke at this time. Fian, tell me. What do you want for the Xian girls' photos to be given to me? What do you want in exchange? Qin Fian knew Shin Kai's personality. He must have already thought about it in his heart to directly state the conditions. If he was willing to state the conditions, it meant that this matter was indeed a taboo for the Shin family. Conditions in exchange? Yes. He wanted a deal. Before he was sure that Shin Kai would care about those photos, he would not mention anything else. Qin Fian felt that his intuition was very accurate. Although Ouyang Yen was a lady and would never do anything out of line, she was a calm woman. Yi Er had vented his anger today, and it was hard to say whether he would be retaliated against in the future. The most he could do to retaliate against Yi Er was to put Yin Hongwei in jail again, but the one who would be implicated would be Jiang Zhao. Yeah. Ouyang Yen is your subordinate now. Qin Fian used to call Ouyang Yen elder sister Yen. However, after today's matter, he could not bring himself to call her elder sister Yen. No matter what, he was on his brother's side. Jiang Zhao's attitude was very obvious. He had been set up, and this trap was definitely set by Ouyang Yen. He could not help but be on guard. After all, Jiang Zhao was now in a terrible fix dealing with Yi Er. He could not persuade a married couple, but he had to help trim the branches at the side. And this is not a secret. Shin Kai sat lazily in his seat, half of his back supporting the back of the chair. His feet were on his legs, and he was holding a wine glass with a big belly in his hand, turning it clockwise. From time to time, the seat of the glass would rub against the table, making a slight sound. It could be said that Miss had basically played with these rich young masters in High City since they were young. Even if she did not know everything, she could still see some things on the surface. For example, Qin Fian had always called Ouyang Yen elder sister Yen. Ouyang Yen had been very beautiful, ladylike, and calm since she was young. She could command a bunch of brats to do anything for her. Qin Fian did not want to do anything, so he only cared about sweet talk and called her elder sister Yen happily. What happened to her? Shin Kai asked based on his intuition. You know that she likes my brother, right? I know. Shin Kai shrugged. His eyes were calm and his tone was unperturbed. Everyone who had studied at high university, at least those who were close to him, knew. It was natural. Qin Fian's movements were still neither fast nor slow as he cut the steak. I'm not afraid to tell you this now. Now she wants my brother to divorce my sister-in-law. This matter is getting bigger and bigger. Yun Hongwei's matter is not a secret. Last time, someone from the Inspection Institute reported Yun Hongwei's matter, and I more or less heard some rumors. Today my sister-in-law has offended Ouyang Yen, and I'm worried that she will take revenge on this matter. I know this. All the men in the world are dead and she wants to hang herself on Jiang Zhao, haha. When Shin Kai said this, he was not at all jealous. He was just narrating it as a joke. Don't worry about this. I'll transfer her to be in charge of ordinary cases. I won't let her touch anything related to Yun Hongwei, okay? After Qin Fian chewed the steak in his mouth, he drank a mouthful of the sweet, fishy liquid and made a tisk sound. Kaizi, this matter is not just like that. I think Fourth Master may want to intervene. I know that there are many secrets in the Inspection Institute that even my brother doesn't know. In fact, I just want to ask you and get to the bottom of it. You know all the clues related to Yun Hongwei's case. I think it will more or less affect my brother's investigation, but I'm not in politics, so I'm afraid it will be much easier to deal with it. Young Master Qin, you have a big appetite. I didn't give your brother any information, but you want to know about a few photos. This isn't a good deal. At that time he had also gone to Jiang Zhao's place to look for Jiang Zhao. It was very simple. The Shin family had something to discuss, and he needed Jiang Zhao's help. He was just using Yun Hongwei's case to do him a favor. Moreover, at that time he felt that it was best if Ouyang Yen did not get involved. With Jiang Zhao's help, Ouyang Yen would not be too out of line. Now that he thought about it, Jiang Zhao was not interested in Ouyang Yen anymore. Otherwise, what was the meaning of this when his younger brother came out to stop him? The matter between Shin Xian and that male celebrity was indeed inconvenient to be reported in the newspapers. Yun Hongwei's bottom line had nothing to do with the Shin family, and it was impossible for Jiang Zhao not to have any news at all. Otherwise, Qin Tong would not have been in such a situation recently. Jiang Zhao would sooner or later get to the bottom of it. This was actually another favor that came at no cost. Qin Fian put down the fork in his hand and reached out to push the glasses on the bridge of his nose. He smiled very kindly, and said, because my brother doesn't even have a few photos. How can this not be a good deal? When Jiang Zhao saw Yi Er run out, he regretted taking off his clothes just now. He put on his pants, picked up a cashmere coat, put it on, and chased after Yi Er. When Yi Er went out, Yun Hongwei had already heard the sound of the door closing. When Jiang Zhao ran downstairs, Yun Hongwei had already walked into the living room and asked, Jiang Zhao, what's wrong? Dad, Yi Er wants to eat supper. I told her not to eat it this time. I didn't know that she was really hungry. Now that she's angry with me, I'll take her to eat. You sleep first. Jiang Zhao looked very anxious as he hurriedly put on his shoes. Yun Hongwei knew that when the two of them came in, they were still hugging and kissing. At this time, the two of them were probably quarreling again. If Jiang Zhao didn't treat Yi Er well, he probably wouldn't coax her at all and would just let them be. Jiang Zhao, don't spoil Yi Er too much. You'll spoil her too much. Dad, it's okay. I'm going. You sleep. After saying this, she had already run out of the door. When Yi Er went out, she grabbed the car keys. When Jiang Zhao saw that one of the car keys in the door cabinet was missing, he knew immediately. Jiang Zhao's elevator didn't go to the underground parking lot. Instead, it went to the first floor and then rushed to the exit of the parking lot. He waited there to block Yi Er. If he went to the underground parking lot, he definitely wouldn't be able to catch up with her. When he came out of the parking lot, he had to swipe his card. It would take some time, and it would take him some time to get dressed. Yi Er kept biting her lip as she ran to the parking lot. She pressed the lock, pulled the door open, and sat in the car. After she got in, she leaned over the steering wheel and wailed loudly, Her voice was so loud that it sounded terrifying to her own ears. At this time, there were no cars in the underground parking lot. It was so quiet that no sound could be heard clearly. At this time, a woman's cry came out of the parking pants. No matter how good the soundproof glass was, one could still hear the grief in the sobbing. In this enclosed space, she didn't have to worry about her father being sad when he heard her cry. She could cry out all the frustrations and pain in her heart. She let them flow out with her tears until she cried dry. She really wanted to cry all those things dry. Fate was playing with her. After she suffered all kinds of grievances, it told her that everything was a joke. This joke wasn't made at the right time. If it was a little earlier, even if it was just a few hours earlier, she would have become the happiest woman in the world. No one would be happier than her. Because she had received the love of the man she wanted, she would have gone crazy with joy instead of going crazy with pain like she was now. But who would save her at this time? It wasn't that she wanted to pretend to be aloof, it wasn't that she wanted to put on airs. Even in her dreams she wanted him to say to her, "Yunyi, I love you too." But it wasn't at this time. Wasn't it when he had just climbed out of bed with the Ouyang Yen and told her that he had nothing to do with the Ouyang Yen and that they had nothing to do with each other a long time ago? Did he think she was a pig? She had seen it with her own eyes. But in order to not get a divorce, he had said that he had nothing to do with the Ouyang Yen. She had always thought that he was a responsible man, but now he was trying to shirk his responsibilities. The moment she closed her eyes, she would see two bodies hugging each other as they slept. She could still think of more. Before she fell asleep, all the details were as real as if she had seen it with her own eyes. This feeling was like a knife stabbing her with all its might. It was too life-threatening. Jiang Zhao stood at the entrance of the parking lot. He wasn't wearing any underwear or a sweater, only a cashmere coat. At this time he felt a little empty. The weather was very cold at this time. When the cold wind blew, it directly entered his body through his sleeves. It was very bone-chilling. As he expected, the sound of tires peeling on the speed bump came from the ground. He heard the beep of the card being swiped, and the sound of the tires peeling on the speed bump continued. He could hear his car and the sound of the engine. Pierre was driving in a hurry, so he opened his arms and closed his eyes. Suddenly, the headlights of the car shone over. Although Jiang Zhao's eyes were closed, he could feel the piercing pain of the strong light. Pierre pressed the horn, but Jiang Zhao still didn't open his eyes. Even if she wanted to kill him today, he wouldn't let her run out like this. Attention Hongcha 866. Chapter 625. The wheels on the anti-skid belt sped up quickly, then came to a stop with a screech of the brakes. His grip on the steering wheel was so tight that the veins on his hands could be seen clearly. Jiang Zhao stood in the same spot, one hand still raised, the other hand in his pocket, feeling for the spare car keys in his pocket. He shouted at Yi'er, "Yunyi, get out." Yi'er was unmoved. She put the car in neutral and stepped on the accelerator. She wanted the other party to hear her anger and yell and immediately give in. Jiang Zhao took a step forward, then another step and another step. Yier's palms were sweaty. Her car's headlights were on, and the white light illuminated the fine dust. She could clearly see the expression on the man's handsome face. The steps he took with his slender legs were very heavy. When he spread his long arms, his palms trembled slightly. When he breathed, clouds of white fog condensed, dispersed, and turned into smoke, leaving no trace. She could clearly see the pain in the man's eyes. It was so clear and she had never seen it before. She didn't know why she could see so many of his emotions in just one night. She had looked into his eyes before, but she couldn't tell. His eyes were too deep, too messy, and never so clear. At that time, his eyes were like the chaos of prehistoric times. A gaze used another language to confuse others. She often saw mirages in his eyes, a sky full of stars, forests, and fog. She had never seen pain. She had always thought that she was the only one who was in pain, and he had never seen her pain. It turned out that he could feel pain too. Because of love? She had never thought that love was sacred and no one belonged to anyone. Wasn't there a popular saying now? What husband? Weren't they all temporary workers? Nowadays, marriage today and divorce tomorrow happened every day. Marriage took 7 years of dating, divorce took a month to get along. Remarriage, and remarriage were like buying vegetables at the market. Husband and wife were birds in the same forest, but when disaster struck, they flew away separately, just like her parents. When I love you, I love you. When I don't love you, I forget that I once loved you. It was so simple. She didn't believe that her mother had never fallen in love with her father. She didn't believe that when she was in love, her mother felt that all the stones given by her father were diamonds. When she wasn't in love, even the stars in the sky were just stones by the roadside. Love was something that could never be sacred or long-lasting. Therefore, she believed in responsibility and helping each other in times of need. Although she was not yet 20 years old, she still believed that a husband and wife should be together forever. That was the promise given by God. Jiang Zhao was a god in her heart. Today, the god in her heart had stepped down from the altar. He no longer protected her from the wind and rain, and gave her happiness. How could such a filthy person be a god? She didn't mind that he was sinister. She knew that he wasn't honest and wasn't great. It didn't matter. Not to mention that he wasn't a corrupt official. Even if he was, she was willing to be in a difficult position with him. She was willing to take advantage of the people with him. However, there was a type of person who had this kind of charm. He was not a good person. He was after benefits, but he had his position and his job. If he wanted something, he did not need to take advantage of the common people. His methods were not like those brainless people who accepted bribes. He had plenty of ways to earn a lot of money. Jiang Zhao walked towards the car. He saw that the front wheel of the car was starting to turn to the left. He was facing her, and his right hand was in his pocket. He guessed that she would definitely want to start the car and drive past him. Therefore, he started to move to the right. Ye rolled down the car window and stuck her head out. "Get out of my way. Where do you want to go? It's none of your business. I want to care. You don't have the right." "I do." When Jiang Zhao walked to the front of the car, he felt for the second button of the car key. He ran with his long legs, and when he felt for the car door, he pressed the remote control. The car door opened with a soft thud. He opened the car door and quickly got in. Ye was stunned. Jiang Zhao had already grabbed her hand that was holding the steering wheel. "Yinyi, let's go back." "No." "Okay, where are you going? Bring me along." There was no air conditioning in the car, and Yi was not wearing a jacket. Jiang Zhao turned on the air conditioning, and there was a low humming sound in the car. Yi tried to hit Jiang Zhao's hand, but Jiang Zhao suddenly shifted the car to D gear. "Step on the accelerator." Yi listened to Jiang Zhao's words as if she was possessed. She stepped on the accelerator and the car rushed out of the exit. After they left the neighborhood, they took a detour and got on the highway viaduct. There were no cars. Occasionally there would be a car that would whiz past like a rocket. There was the earth-shattering sound of the exhaust pipes. "Jiang Zhao, I want to divorce you." "I won't divorce you." The Qin family's old residence's landline rang. The helper was still yawning and her eyes were closed. However, her feet were skillfully and accurately avoiding all obstacles. She was afraid that she would disturb the owner of the building, so she quickly picked up the phone. "Hello, Qin family. Wake Qin Rongfang up. I'm Ouyang Sheng." Ouyang Sheng's voice on the phone was like popcorn. When the helper heard this, she felt that it was a taboo to call the old master by his name. She immediately felt that this was no small matter. "Fourth master, the old master is already asleep. Can you wait until he gets up at 5:30 for his morning exercise? Tell him to get up. Otherwise, he'll regret it tomorrow morning." Ouyang Sheng's aura was too strong. The helper knew that something was wrong and hurriedly said, "Fourth master, wait a moment. I'll get the old lady to inform the old master immediately." "Hurry up. What are you waiting for?" The courtyard of a row of high-ranking officials in Wujin Lane in Jiang District was as quiet as a grave at night. When the Jiang family's old residence's landline rang, old Master Jiang and the old lady had already settled down to sleep. Auntie Lu knocked on the door of the two elders' room. People in their old age often slept very little, and it was easy for them to be awakened by the sound of movement. The old lady shouted, "Come in." Auntie Lu was still wearing the family's military coat. She hadn't had time to fix her hair before she hurriedly pushed the door open and entered. The place where the elderly slept was always lit with a faint light. She was afraid that they would accidentally fall when they woke up in the middle of the night. After all, they weren't young people and falling was no small matter. Seeing that it was the old lady who woke up, she lowered her head and raised her hand to whisper into the old lady's ear, "Zhao Zhao is in big trouble in Haiqing." The old man was shocked. He opened his eyes and was about to sit up. The old lady reached out and pressed on his shoulder. "Sit up slowly. Blood will rush to your head and you'll faint. Something has happened in Haiqing. Don't get sick and cause trouble for the children at this critical juncture." Okay. You'll be fine." The old man raised his hand and pressed it on the back of the old lady's hand. "I got it." Auntie Lu helped the old lady sit up first. She took a thick coat that she wore during the day and draped it over her. Then, she went to the other side of the bed and helped the old man sit up. The old man took the coat from Auntie Lu's hand and stretched his body to drape it over himself. "What's going on?" The Qin family called. They said that something happened to Zhao Zhao and asked the old man to answer the phone personally. "I said to call you, but you have to wait because it's a little slow to wake up." "There's no hurry." The old man glared at Auntie Lu, lifted the blanket and got out of bed. "There's no hurry. I thought they'd sent you to tell me about it. Why are you not in a hurry?" He snorted and took off his slippers. He reached out and turned on all the lights on the bedside table. Instantly the room was bright. The old lady also lifted the blanket and got out of bed. "Xiao Lu, it's not your fault. Go to bed early. I'll wait for you to answer the phone before I sleep," Auntie Lu said quietly. She was used to the old man's temper, so she didn't think much of it. She was just nervous. No matter how nervous she was afraid that the two old men would be too anxious and dizzy. "Go and hang up the phone in the living room. I'll turn on my phone and call them." The old man walked to the desk, picked up the old man's phone that had been turned off and turned it on. "I'll go now," Auntie Lu answered and left the room. The old man held the phone away from his eyes and stared at the words on the screen. He looked for the names in the phone book one by one. He dialed. He walked to the window and raised his long arm to open the curtains. With one hand on his waist and the other holding the phone, he straightened his back and looked at the hazy moon outside the window. Almost all the men in the Jiang family had such a back view. It was a majestic and tall back view. It was inherited from old Master Jiang. Soldiers always had such an aura. Without saying anything, they made people submit. "Old Qin," old Master Jiang called out calmly. He didn't sound like the usual old fart. After the photo scandal last time, the Qin family didn't call the Jiang family. This time it was in the middle of the night. Old Master Jiang didn't want to make a big fuss out of anger. He wanted to figure out what was going on as soon as possible. "Old Jiang, I'm afraid you'll have to come over this time." He went straight to the point. "What happened to Zhao Zhao?" He was straightforward. He asked the reason. "I'm afraid Zhao Zhao is going to get a divorce this time." "Divorce?" Old Master Jiang repeated in a doubtful voice. When the old lady heard this, she hurriedly walked over with her small walking stick and said softly, "Use the speakerphone." The old man held the phone further away. When he saw the speakerphone button, he pressed it. Qin Rongfang's voice on the phone was also regretful. "You know about the family Ouyang?" The old man frowned. "Hasn't it been so many years? When Zhao Zhao was about to get married last time, I was wondering why that girl came back. What's going on?" Tonight, Zhao Zhao slept in little Yan's bed. Just a while ago, Ouyang Xing called and flipped out. The old man's chest rose. "Bastard. He's still fooling around outside after getting married. Didn't you settle it last time? How many days has that scandal been spreading?" "Old Jiang, this matter has already happened. What do you think we should do?" "What should we do? Zhao Zhao slept in his ex-girlfriend's bed, and you're asking me what to do? There's more." "What else? Can't you just say it all in one breath?" The old man couldn't control his anger. The old lady held her small walking stick in her hand and stomped it on the wooden floor. The old man's voice was a little softer. "Finish it in one go. Granddaughter-in-law made a scene at the door and beat up that girl from the family Ouyang. She beat her up so badly that she can't go to work tomorrow morning. Ouyang Xing said that he specially asked the driver to send Zhao Zhao home. In the end, after he fell asleep, Zhao Zhao went back to the family Ouyang. Old Jiang, what do you think is going on?" "What's going on? What did Ouyang Xing say?" The old lady interjected. She seemed to be much more sober than the two men. "Ouyang Xing. He said that his granddaughter can't go out and meet people in the future. He wants Zhao Zhao to divorce and marry his granddaughter." Qin Rongfang couldn't find anyone to come up with an idea at this time and was very anxious. When the newspaper came out a few days ago, it could be said that it was a scandal. Now that he slept in someone else's bed, how could it be called a scandal? Attention Hongcha 866. Chapter 626. *T. Old Madame Jiang was not a person who would swear. When she was young, she was a scout and had some culture. Even if old Master Jiang was a soldier and was a little rough, she would not swear. At this time, when the word *T came out of her mouth, old Master Jiang quickly stretched out his arm and put it around her shoulder, afraid that she would explode in anger. "I'll make this clear. Let's not talk about the fact that Zhao Zhao is married now. Even if Zhao Zhao isn't married now, our Jiang family doesn't want the daughter of the Ouyang family." Old Madame Jiang was thin. At this time she had shrunk a little and was just under Old Master Jiang's arm. However, her words were crisp and clear and she seemed to have a lot of weight. "Hey sister, don't be so angry," Qin Rongfang persuaded. "Now that there are photos, I thought that this matter was not so simple. Zhao Zhao is a person who knows his limits. I'm afraid that this time he will fall into the hands of Ouyang Sheng. That old thing is like a 1,000-year-old fox. I'm afraid that he will not fight a battle that he is not confident of winning." When old Madame Jiang heard this, she was so angry that she poked the wooden floor a few times with the small walking stick in her hand. Her crisp words were very loud. "This is even more impossible. The photos are already taken. Zhao Zhao is being threatened. What's so great about family Ouyang? Back then they were the ones who said that they would not be engaged. Now they are also the ones who want Zhao Zhao to divorce. What kind of immoral things are they letting their family do? I don't care. As long as I'm not dead, I won't let family Ouyang marry into our family. Our Jiang family does not need those noble and virtuous girls to put up a front. Our Jiang family's men are all very capable. It's the same no matter who he marries. Tell family Ouyang to give up." Many years ago, it was old Master Jiang who went to Haiqing to make peace with family Ouyang and help Jiang Zhao talk about marriage. Old Madame Jiang did not like to take the plane, and she felt that the train ride was too long, so she did not go. Before leaving, she reminded him repeatedly that he must control his temper when he went there. Family Ouyang's daughter was good-looking and good-natured. She did not cause trouble and would be the best as Zhao Zhao's wife. Old Master Jiang also went there full of confidence. Who knew that he would come back dejected? The old madam could not take this lying down no matter what. It was fine if her grandson's conditions were not good, but with his looks, figure, family background and ability, who wouldn't think that he was good? Family Ouyang, sister. Qin Rongfang could still scold old Master Jiang, but he really couldn't scold old Madame Jiang, nor could he afford to offend her. "I know what you said. You're uncomfortable and so are we. But Ouyangsheng's words are very obvious now. If we don't divorce, he will take the initiative to clarify this matter. I'm afraid that Zhao Zhao's future will be ruined. You know the background of our two families. Zhao Zhao is now at the peak of his career. If he is crippled at this time, I think we can put aside the interests of our two families. But for Zhao Zhao, have you thought about how big a blow this will be? Which man can accept his career being damaged at this time?" Old Madame Jiang was stunned and did not dare to say anything else. Old Master Jiang heard that old Madame Jiang had stopped talking, so he said, "Old Qin, I'll ask the guard to book a ticket for me at dawn." "I'll go too," old Madame Jiang said lightly. "Don't go. You're afraid of taking the plane. The train is slow. Take the plane. I'll go. Don't stop me. If you stop me, I'll walk." When old Madame Jiang's temper flared up, no one could stop her. She poked her small walking stick and turned around to walk to the bed. Old Master Jiang said to Qin Rongfang, "Rongfang, you have to appease Zhao Zhao. Also, you have to appease my granddaughter-in-law. That girl who hit the family Ouyang Sheng, that old thing, is ruthless." Old Madame Jiang was about to lean her walking stick against the bedside table. When she heard this, she immediately turned around to look at old Master Jiang and said angrily, "Well done. She deserved it. I said that girl was right. She can't even deal with a wild woman who slept with her own man. How can she be the daughter-in-law of the Jiang family?" In the snow garden of Jiang district, there was an old house with a fence. Tall rows of trees blocked all the scenery outside the fence. This was the largest and most low-key wealthy family in Jiang district. At night, the metasequoia trees stood tall in the snow garden. The road was peaceful and there would be faint street lights on the pond, reflecting the wrinkled water ripples caused by the wind. The villa fell asleep quietly. In the Hawaiian-style villa, Jiang Rui lifted the quilt and got out of bed. Xiang Wan asked softly, "What's wrong?" "Sleep with your son. There's a call from the old house. I'll go out to answer it." Jiang Rui was afraid that old Master Jiang would wait for too long, so he quickly left the room. He opened the door of the floor-to-ceiling window in the living room and walked to the glass fence to answer the call. "Grandpa, it's so late. What happened?" The man's handsome face shone in the huge snow garden. His tall and straight body was only wearing thin pajamas. In the winter night he didn't feel cold at all. Instead he looked strong and healthy. "Rui, I've booked a flight to High City with your grandma tomorrow morning. Something happened to Zhao Zhao. I won't go over to pick up Mian Mian and bring him to the old house tomorrow." "What happened to Jiang Zhao?" Jiang Rui pursed his thin lips. and his facial features instantly became firm. Tonight he was caught in bed by his wife. This matter is quite serious. First it's that girl from the family Ouyang. Now it's Ouyang Sheng who wants to divorce Zhao Zhao. I'm worried that Zhao Zhao's career will be affected, so I have to go over and take a look. The woman behind him came out with a robe. When Jiang Rui heard the noise, he turned around and saw Xiang Wan stepping over the sliding door of the floor-to-ceiling window. He was afraid that his grandpa's voice was too loud and felt awkward. Xiang Wan, go to sleep. Don't worry about me. He reached out to take the robe from the woman and put it on in front of her. Then he patted her back. Go quickly. If Mian Mian doesn't manage to touch you, he'll cause trouble again. Old Master Jiang quickly said, let Xiang Wan take care of Mian Mian. Xiang Wan smiled and nodded. Jiang Rui saw Xiang Wan enter the house and said to Old Master Jiang, Grandma doesn't like to take the plane, right? She doesn't like the air pressure. She insists on going. I can't stop her. She's very anxious. How about this? I'll arrange a private jet. You don't need to book a ticket. You're already so old and you should take Grandma to enjoy it. I usually let you use it, but you don't think it's worth it. You don't have to worry, but don't make Grandma suffer. When Jiang Rui spoke, he smiled mischievously. It didn't seem like he was talking about a matter of life and death. No. I just want to book a ticket. I know you're rich. Even if you're rich, you shouldn't do this. I'll reimburse you if you book a flight. Just the fuel for one trip is enough for me to take so many flights. Grandpa, there's still Grandma. Also, I'll go with you. No matter if I'm going to divorce or not, I have to ask Jiang Zhao's attitude first. Old Master Jiang was also anxious at this time, so he gave in. Alright, if you go, I also feel that it's better. You know Zhao Zhao's character better than I do. Yi Er's car had already reached the riverside. He stepped on the brakes and turned to look at Jiang Zhao, who was still fuming. She knew from his expression that his chest must be heaving up and down violently. He was very angry. What was there for him to be angry about? He actually pretended to be angrier than her. Was he used to being a male chauvinist? Jiang Zhao, you said that we're not getting a divorce. Why are you not getting a divorce? Because I'm your husband. You won't be after we get a divorce. I'm not getting a divorce. Jiang Zhao denied firmly every time. Jiang Zhao. Slumped over the steering wheel, paralyzed. She rested her forehead on the steering wheel and looked at her legs. Her voice suddenly dropped. Jiang Zhao, if we don't get a divorce, we won't be able to live on. Do you understand? If you forgive me, we'll be able to live on. Jiang Zhao reached out and placed his hand on the back of Yi Er's neck. You're not a thing. You're not a thing. You did such a thing and you actually want me to forgive you? Yi Er raised her head and pushed Jiang Zhao's hand away from the back of her neck. She felt that her image in front of Jiang Zhao had been completely overturned tonight. She had completely lost her image. All the results that she had worked so hard to achieve were all gone. She couldn't help but destroy the obedience that she had practiced day and night. She really couldn't help but feel sad. In the past, before she saw it with her own eyes, Ouyang Yen could make her break down with just a phone call and a few words. She was already crazy enough. She had endured it for so long. Today she caught him in bed and finally couldn't take it anymore. Yet he still had the nerve to ask her to forgive him? How could she forgive him? Who could forgive him? She didn't know. She didn't have any experience. She only knew that she couldn't take it, couldn't accept it, couldn't face such a reality. She hated herself for asking for it. She hated him even more for letting her see it with her own eyes. If he said that there was nothing between him and Ouyang Yen and that they had broken up for several years, who would believe that? Yunyi, I'm indeed not a thing. I'm not a thing. You can scold me however you like, okay? Yi Er looked at the blue sky in the distance. In the blue sky was a bed. On the bed was her man, the man she loved deeply. That man's arms were bare and he wasn't even wearing underwear under the blanket. However, this naked body wasn't with her. The woman in his arms was his ex-girlfriend. That woman was as naked as him. The two of them were snuggled together. They must be extremely tired to be able to sleep so soundly. She knew that every time they were extremely tired, they would sleep especially soundly. She saw that in the blue sky, there was a woman slapping her own face like crazy. She hated the man and woman on the bed, and hated herself even more for not being ruthless enough to kill the man and woman. She saw that in the blue sky there was a woman jumping onto the bed like crazy. She slapped the woman who slept with her man one by one. As she slapped, she cried, she slapped, she slapped, she slapped, she slapped, she slapped, and she felt despair. She opened her mouth and cried loudly. The saltiness of her tears hurt her face, but she didn't feel it at all. She stepped on the accelerator all the way. Jiang Zhao sat in the car without fastening his seatbelt. He looked ahead and listened to Yi Er's hysterical cries and screams. He only hoped that this was hysteria and not drastic measures. Jiang Zhao, you're shameless. You're shameless. You're already in this state and you still refuse to divorce. What are you trying to do? When did you become so shameless? Yi Er was indeed screaming and scolding hysterically. If she couldn't shout out the anger in her chest, she would die. She gritted her teeth and scolded. She wanted to scold even more harshly. My F***king wife is almost gone. Why do I still need my face? What do I need it for? Jiang Zhao slammed his fist on the dashboard. It was a heavy punch. The car seemed to have suddenly experienced an earthquake. Boom. A loud sound rang out. Awesome novel Xinwu 799. Chapter 627. Yunyi, you saw it today, but I don't even know how I ended up sleeping there. I got into my own car and was ready to go home. Jiang Zhao's mind was in a mess. He could only try to explain what he remembered clearly. However, he realized that no matter how he tried to explain, it was all the same. Yi Er nodded and mumbled, yes, I know. You went back and went back. So no matter what, the result is the same. You have to get a divorce. Yi Er lowered her head and her hair floated in front of her face. She could see how messy it was. She must look like a beggar. She didn't know where her arrogance came from. In the past, when she thought he didn't love her, she never dared to push her luck like this. But she swore to God that she didn't have any intention of doing so. She just felt that they couldn't live together anymore. If she didn't love him, then so be it. Even if he slept with other women every day, she would still be able to live on. But damn it, she loved him. This kind of life would become a kind of torture. In just a few hours, she felt like she had lost her original form. She was in so much pain that she lost her original form. Jiang Zhao felt that it was because he cared too much about his face that he ended up like this. He clearly didn't want to, but now it was confirmed that he had cheated. He was caught in bed and found the underwear under the blanket in front of everyone. No matter how he tried to explain, it would just be a quibble. No one would care about his original intentions or the process. The result was too fatal. He didn't care about that now. If she said he was a good for nothing, he was a good for nothing. If she said he was shameless, he was shameless. But divorce? Don't even think about it. Don't even think about it. Anyway, he was a good for nothing. He was shameless. Divorce? No way. Yi Er had always known that Jiang Zhao was domineering. It had never changed. She didn't expect him to be so domineering at a time like this. If she did such a thing, she wouldn't have the face to be like him. Jiang Zhao, fine. You have guts. If you don't divorce, I'll go sleep with other men. When the time comes, you can stand outside the door. You can listen and watch. If you can accept it, we won't leave. The car crossed the bridge on the riverside. The river was wide, and the woman's angry and reckless noise made the man's blood pressure rise. It suddenly reached the limit. Stop the car. Jiang Zhao roared. His fist hit the front of the car, and there was another loud bang. Yi Er thought to himself, isn't he afraid of crippling his hand? She stepped on the brakes and pulled the car over. She wanted him to get out of the car. She did not even want to smell his scent. The man's handsome face was covered with a layer of frost. His fists were still clenched tightly, like a hammer that was still nailed to the front desk, ready to hammer down again. His eyes were bloodshot, and from his hair to his breath, it was all anger. Was he angry? She didn't know where the feeling of vengeance came from. It was as if she could stab him with a knife. At this moment she would be very happy. It was as if she could only hurt him as badly as she did and she would be liberated. Why should she be the only one in pain? She couldn't learn to be so open-minded. She could tolerate his male chauvinism, tolerate his temper that could explode at any time, tolerate his social engagements until late at night. In the past, when she felt that he had no feelings for her, she could tolerate it, even tolerate it. But the impurity and betrayal of her body, she couldn't tolerate it. She couldn't be open-minded. She was in pain, so she wanted revenge. Yunyi, you want to take revenge on me? You want to take revenge on me, don't you? Fine, you want to take revenge on me. Then how about this? Jiang Zhao pressed down the window of the passenger seat and pointed out. It was the rippling surface of the river and the wider blue sky. I'll jump off this bridge. If I can swim ashore alive, you'll forgive me and we'll live a good life again. If I die, you can F***king sleep with whoever you want. I don't care. The tendons on the man's face, forehead, and neck all popped out. He looked terrifying and ferocious. When his voice exploded, it seemed as if there were rings of extremely powerful air currents. Yi felt as if her eardrums were about to burst. She felt as if the man's eyes and pores were about to bleed. She couldn't help but tremble. When the car door opened, Yi's heart skipped a beat. By the time she understood what the man said, the door to the passenger seat had already been slammed shut with a bang. Yi opened the car door and rushed out. She grabbed onto Jiang Zhao, who had already climbed onto the railing. She hugged his waist, not daring to let go. Jiang Zhao knew that he couldn't be forgiven. Really, there was no way to forgive him. When he heard what Yi said, he knew that he had to punish himself severely. He couldn't take it. He couldn't take it just by listening to it. If she slept with another man and asked him to listen and watch, he would definitely kill someone. Then he would die with her and be done with it. He didn't dare to ask for Yi's forgiveness anymore. Even he couldn't accept the result, so what right did he have to ask for her forgiveness? Today's incident, regardless of whether or not anyone had harmed him, since he had already let her down, then it was his fault. He didn't know what reason meant at this moment. Ever since she had rushed into Ouyang Yan's room and slapped him, his reason had not successfully entered his brain. His brain was either rapidly frozen or rapidly ignited. Every time he wanted to calm down, she would suddenly shout, sob, roar, or tear. Every time he wanted to calm down, she would suddenly shout, sob, roar, or tear. Every time she said something, the reason he wanted to establish would instantly collapse. He didn't know what he had experienced in the past few months when he was with her to end up like this. Nothing earth-shattering happened, right? How did he end up like this? Yi knew Jiang Zhao's temperament. She also understood the look in his eyes before he got out of the car. He wasn't joking. If he was joking, the light in his eyes wouldn't be so resolute and ruthless. Ruthless? If he jumped into the river from this bridge, not to mention how deep the river was and how fast the current was, just the water resistance alone would be enough to smash his internal organs into pieces. If he didn't have any skill in diving, he would die instantly even if he didn't drown. Jiang Zhao, get down here. Yi dragged him forcefully, but how could she control the man's strength? No. Let's end this today. I'm not seeking death. Why are you jumping into the river? She was really going to be angered to death by this man. She was a woman. She was a woman who caught her husband cheating on her. Now that she didn't slit her wrists, he wanted to jump into the river. Jiang Zhao frowned. He grabbed the railing and refused to be dragged down by Yi. He argued, I'm not seeking death. I'm not threatening anyone. I'm giving myself a chance. If you don't give it to me, I'll find a chance for myself. Yi hugged Jiang Zhao's waist and buried her head in his waist. Jiang Zhao, you're not allowed to jump. If you jump, you'll bring me down. I don't want to die. You're not allowed to jump. I didn't ask you to jump with me. I know how to swim. I can definitely swim to the shore. Yi raised her head. The lights on the bridge were orange and warm. The high-wattage lights were reflected on the river surface. The undulating river surface looked like it was sprinkled with countless diamonds. When the water rippled, the diamonds flickered and shimmered. She saw that the man was naked from his neck to his chest. His coat had a large collar and a large part of his chest was exposed. The wind on the river pierced her bones and she shivered. The man's gaze was still firm and determined. At this moment, he sat on the railing and felt the woman hugging his waist. In the dead of the night, they hugged each other tightly. Above them was the thick blue sky and below them was the sparkling river. The lights shone on their figures as they hugged each other. Regret. Regret that when the two of them were together, they hadn't been together like this. If this hadn't happened, they would have found a quiet place like this. At this time, with no traffic and no people, they would have hugged each other and enjoyed the night view of the river. How romantic would that have been? Romantic? He used to despise such a word, but now he yearned for it. Sitting on the railing of the bridge, he stroked the woman's head. The tip of her hair felt rough to the touch like grass. He murmured softly, Yunyi. He was thinking of something romantic, but the words that came out of his mouth were choked with sobs. He couldn't help it. Yi heard Jiang Zhao call her, and tears instantly flowed down her face. She lowered her head and bit his clothes, refusing to speak. Yunyi, I didn't want to die and I didn't want to act shamelessly either. If you don't forgive me for this, we'll start over. I also think that I deserve to die 1,000 times. I also know that you're worried that something will happen to me because you still can't let go. You just can't forgive me. I know. Jiang Zhao raised his head. The moon hid and some warm tears rolled from the corners of his eyes into his ears. Yunyi, I don't even know how to forgive myself now. I didn't think that something like this would happen. You can't get over this hurdle, but I forced you to get over it. I'm forcing you. I know I'm forcing you. But if you let me jump down and swim ashore, please give me another chance. Even if I turn over a new leaf, it'll be worth more than gold, okay? Jiang Zhao. I won't let you jump. No matter what, I won't let you jump. I don't believe in the words of a prodigal son turning over a new leaf. Nonsense, nonsense. Ye Er hugged the man's waist even tighter. She had to hug him tightly. She hugged him tightly. The wind was strong on the river surface. If they were not careful, they might be blown off. If they fell onto the river surface, their internal organs would be smashed. Jiang Zhao, come down. We're not divorced. We're not divorced. Is that okay? Come down, jump down. Whether you're dead or alive, I'll divorce you. Ye Er had no choice. If Jiang Zhao acted shamelessly, she had no choice. If he didn't act shamelessly, she had no choice. She could only give in to him. He was so much older than her, but he wanted her to give in to him. What was he doing? Jiang Zhao was suddenly stunned. When he was dragged down the railing by Ye Er, he was a little embarrassed. Ye Er thought she had seen wrongly. She saw Jiang Zhao actually lower his head shyly and scratch his head in embarrassment. He was like a young boy who didn't dare to look into her eyes. Seriously, Ye Er bared her teeth and wanted to bite him. Jiang Zhao didn't look into Ye Er's eyes. He was also embarrassed to speak. It was as if he had just put on a show where he cried, threw a tantrum, and threatened to hang himself. But that wasn't his original intention. He just wanted to be a man for once. Later on, when he thought about it, that was something only a teenage boy would do. But wasn't he anxious? Seeing Ye Er turn around and walk towards the car, Jiang Zhao followed. After getting into the car, he stomped on his cool and deep image. He fastened his seatbelt and said, "Wifey, let me take you for supper. Are you hungry?" Beauty novel Songshu 566. Chapter 628. Look at how you're dressed. Do you still have the face to go out for supper? Ye Er felt that she was so unlucky. She was clearly the one who had suffered a huge grievance today, yet now she had to turn around and comfort him. She was even afraid that he would commit suicide. What kind of world was this? Timdy. It's nothing. I'm just taking my wife out for a meal. What's wrong with wearing anything? Jiang Zhao was blindly trying to please Ye Er. Looking at himself wearing a cashmere coat with a large lapel, he really looked very comical. If taking her out for supper like this could make her happy, then it didn't matter. Jiang Zhao, we don't have to get a divorce, but we need to sign a separation agreement. After 2 years of separation, when you're not so stubborn anymore, we can officially separate. Ye Er was no longer impulsive. She tried her best to remain calm. In any case, between them she could never be too emotional. Ever since her father's accident, she had to mature. Her life was like this. Since he wasn't calm, then let her calm down. Yin Yer. You're F***king playing with me? The man roared angrily. The smile that had just crept up to his eyebrows instantly froze into ice shards. The sharp ice shards smashed into a person's body, causing them to feel pain. Qin Rongfang called Jiang Zhao's cell phone, but no one picked up. He called Ye Er's cell phone, but no one picked up. Meanwhile, in Jiang Zhao's home in mansion number 9, Jiang Zhao and Ye Er's cell phones kept ringing in their room on the second floor. Qin Rongfang then called Qin Fian. Qin Fian had just parted ways with Shen Kai. When he received Qin Rongfang's call and inquiry, he recounted everything that had happened that night in full detail. After listening to both sides, Qin Rongfang had an idea in his heart. Grandpa, I don't think the family Ouyang will make a big deal out of this. Qin Fian left Shen Kai's neighborhood and drove in the direction of the Qin family's old mansion. What? Qin Fian touched the Bluetooth headset on his ear, through the spectacles on the dashboard and said, "We all know how much Ouyang Xing dotes on Ouyang Yan." He said that he would expose this matter, but would it benefit Ouyang Yan? Moreover, my brother's attitude was quite obvious at night. He was clearly on sister-in-law's side. You didn't see it at that time. Ouyang Yan had already been slapped by sister-in-law until his face was swollen like a ladle. My brother was stunned and didn't stop or persuade her. Grandpa, think about it. With my brother's temper, would he not even say a word when someone bullied his people? Moreover, when Ouyang Yan was about to slap sister-in-law, my brother immediately pressed down on Ouyang Yan's hand, and sister-in-law slapped him twice. Really? Although Qin Rongfang frowned, he then smiled and said, Ye Er, this girl has a bit of a temper. She usually looks like a very gentle girl. Qin Fian sneered. Ye Er's temper was indeed gentle in front of Qin Rongfang. Except for the day of the proposal, she was always gentle in the Qin family. When she wasn't in front of the old man, she was much more lively. If Grandpa saw what happened at night, he didn't know how shocked he would be. Isn't that so? Anyway, I don't think Ouyang Xing is a fool. My brother is biased toward sister-in-law. If he makes a big deal out of it, what if my brother goes all out and doesn't care about anything? Ouyang Yin really can't stay in High City. Moreover, Grandpa, you know that my brother's temper really isn't something that can be threatened. When the time comes, it'll be difficult for the family Ouyang to handle. Qin Rongfang said solemnly. It's easy to make enemies but not easy to make enemies. The family Ouyang is a big family. We can't easily make enemies with them. If you don't believe me, just wait and see. Once my brother pacifies sister-in-law, if Ouyang Xing dares to jump out and threaten him, he will definitely go against the Ouyang family regardless of the family's objections. In any case, I can see that sister-in-law has been deeply hurt by Ouyang Yan's matter. My brother will probably have a hard time pacifying her, and if he doesn't get even with her, then he won't be Jiang Zhao. It's normal that she didn't answer the phone. Don't worry, I'll go back to the house and tell you that I didn't sleep last night. I won't go to work tomorrow. Up to you. You're lazy anyway. Yinyi, you're playing with me. You just agreed to it. Jiang Zhao realized that it was especially easy for him to lose control now. Yi Er clearly said that she wouldn't divorce him, but now she said that she wanted to sign a separation agreement. Even if she didn't say anything, he knew that he couldn't sign it. After signing the separation agreement, they would have to divorce after the separation agreement expired. Was he stupid? If they didn't divorce now, would they divorce in 2 years? I didn't. Yi Er continued to drive. She got off the bridge that crossed the river and drove towards the suburbs. She was very awake and didn't want to sleep at all. You lied to me. Jiang Zhao was completely like a child at this moment. He didn't care if he was in the wrong today. He just wanted to shout at Yi Er with a louder voice. Go back and suppress it. You're really shameless. How dare you say that I lied to you? Yi Er gritted her teeth angrily. She was going to suffer internal injuries because of him. Jiang Zhao lowered his shoulders and looked at Yi Er. He reached out and rubbed his face. Then he exhaled. The pitiful expression in his eyes was so pitiful that he wished he could stuff it all into Yi Er's eyes. Yinyi, I don't have a face but you do. So don't lie to me. Just now you said that you wouldn't divorce me, so you'll never divorce me. Damn you. I don't have a face either. Don't talk to me about that nonsense. Jiang Zhao suddenly smiled and pulled the sleeve of Yi's sweater that was sticking to her forearm like a lackey. Then wouldn't the two of us, who are shameless, be able to live the rest of our lives together? Yi Er turned her face and glanced at Jiang Zhao's handsome, good-looking and cowardly face. She suddenly felt like her head was rushing to blood. The flight time from Jiang District to Haiqing was 1 hour and 40 minutes. When Qin Rongfang and Qin Fian picked up Old Master Jiang, Old Madam Jiang, Xiang Wan, and Little Mian Mian, it was already late at night. It was already 11 o'clock in the morning. Old Madam Jiang didn't have any physical reaction. When she saw Qin Rongfang and Qin Fian, she hurriedly walked towards the exit with her walking stick. Little Mian Mian didn't want the nanny to carry him, so Jiang Rui carried him in his arms. Xiang Wan chased after Old Madam Jiang to help her. Grandma, please walk slowly. Xiang Wan, you take care of Mian Mian. I was a sprinter when I was young. This speed isn't considered fast. Qin Rongfang just called out, Sister? Qin Fian pushed his glasses. Grandpa, that's so old-fashioned. It's so unpleasant to hear you call her sister. You're already so old, but you make it sound like you're flirting with a girl. Qin Rongfang glared at him. Old Master Jiang, Old Madam Jiang, and Qin Rongfang sat in the same car. Qin Fian received the young man. Old Madam Jiang sat in the back and patted the back of the front passenger seat. I can't get through to Zhao Zhao's phone. What's going on? How big is this matter going to get? Qin Rongfang sat in the front and didn't turn his head. His face was full of worry. Zhao Zhao didn't go to work and there's no one at home. They didn't bring their mobile phones. I went to check the CCTV just now and the car drove out. Fian told me not to worry and that Zhao Zhao knows what he's doing. Zhao Zhao has been working for so many years, and he has never said that he doesn't go to work. I asked Lai Qing to call him personally to ask for leave. Old Master Jiang's face darkened. He's getting more and more outrageous. His voice immediately lowered. Could there be an accident? Now I've asked Lai Qing to arrange people to look for him. I just thought of using his car's GPS to look for him. I knew it wouldn't be so smooth. Old Madam Jiang listened to the two men talk for a while, but she didn't say anything. Finally, she patted the back of the front seat. Her small walking stick was nestled under her wrinkled hands. Although her eyes had been wrinkled into a triangular shape, her eyes were full of shrewdness. Old Qin, asked the driver to drive to the family Ouyang. I'll go and meet this old guy Ouyang Sheng and see what he wants. If what Fian told you is the truth, then Zhao Zhao has been set up. If he dares to harm my Jiang family so openly, I'll be the first to not let him go. Now that Zhao Zhao and my granddaughter-in-law are not calm, let them go. I'm very calm now. You drive the car to the family Ouyang for me. You men talk about love and righteousness. I'm a woman, I don't talk about that. Old Master Jiang saw that the old lady was a little serious, but he was also a little worried that her body couldn't calm down. He reached out and stroked her knee. Don't get involved. I'll settle these matters with old Qin. You'll solve them? Old Madame Jiang's small and capable appearance shook. She raised her chin. The skin on her neck was a little loose, but her chin was still raised firmly. A man's responsibility is to clean up a mess. When I can't solve it, you'll clean up the mess for me. The stall will be fine. I've been holding back this anger for several years. Last time it was you who lost face and it was me who was slapped in the face. This time I want to see if his family Ouyang thinks he should do whatever he wants. Old Master Jiang glanced at Qin Rongfang in the front seat. Qin Rongfang couldn't wait for old Madame Jiang to come forward, but he didn't say anything. After all, in High City the family Ouyang always met the Qin family face to face. Sometimes, when they did something that offended people, they felt a little uncomfortable. Moreover, whether or not it was a trap this time, his grandson slept with someone else's granddaughter. Moreover, how could a man say these things? This matter was settled like this. The two high-end cars drove one after another to the family Ouyang's old residence. When they arrived at the family Ouyang, Qin Fian was called by Qin Fian to find Jiang Zhao. Qin Fian directly left, saying that he would send someone to pick him up later. Knowing that old Master Jiang's family had also arrived in High City, Ouyang Xing focused for a moment, but soon calmed down. Inviting a large group of passers-by to sit down in the reception hall, little Mian arrogantly slapped away the nanny's hand and walked to his grandfather. Old Master Jiang sat on the soft leather sofa and lowered his head. Little Mian stretched out his hand to pinch old Master Jiang's face and rubbed it, laughing as he rubbed it. When he caught old Master Jiang's nose, he stood on his tiptoes and stretched out his mouth to bite it. Old Master Jiang deliberately laughed and dodged. He raised his hand high and gently landed on little Mian's butt. Bad boy. Old Master Jiang laughed and scolded. Ouyang Xing. Old Madam at home asked the kitchen staff to prepare the dishes. Grandma Bai sat beside old Master Jiang. She held a small walking stick in one hand and pressed it with the other. She looked at Ouyang Xing, who was sitting on the sofa opposite her, and said apologetically, Lousy, you don't have to prepare the dishes. With this little devil at home, we rarely bring him out to eat. He's so mischievous that I feel flustered. He's such a cute child, what's there to feel flustered about? Ouyang Xing knew that they did not come with good intentions, but he still laughed it off. What's there to be cute about? He's so mischievous. Our Jiang family has a bunch of boys. I feel so annoyed just by looking at them. Grandma Bai glanced sideways at Xiang Wan and winked at her quickly. When Xiang Wan heard Grandma Bai saying that boys were annoying, she felt as though her heart was pinched and felt somewhat uncomfortable. But when she saw Grandma Bai winking at her, she instantly understood and smiled. Grandma, I can't control whether it's a boy or a girl. Ouyang Xing tried to persuade her as though he was the host. That's right. Besides, it's the same whether it's a boy or a girl. We can just have another one. Awesome novel. Song Shu 566. Chapter 629. Old Madame Qi waved her hand and sighed helplessly. Just them? I'm not counting on them anymore. Before they got married, I looked at the photo and told eldest brother that Xiang Yi is going to give birth to a boy. Eldest brother didn't believe me. Just wait and see. If they give birth to a girl, I think that girl from the Yun family is more reliable. Once I look at the photo, I'm sure she'll give birth to a girl that I like. When the time comes, I'll be able to suppress the Jiang family. Xiang Wan sat beside Jiang Rui. Jiang Rui didn't say anything and hugged her shoulder. Xiang Wan put her hand on Jiang Rui's thigh and looked at old Master Jiang. She pouted. Grandpa, look, people say that boys and girls are all the same. Yi'er hasn't given birth to a girl yet, but Grandma is already biased. You have to dote on our Nian more. Otherwise, how can the little sister bully her brother the moment she's born? Old Master Jiang carried little Nian Mian who was standing in front of him. The 1-year-old boy looked so adorable in his arms. He was so fair and tender that he wanted to take a bite out of him. Old Master Jiang acted as if he didn't hear anything and lowered his head to tickle little Nian Mian. "Oh, my little sweetheart, let's tell great-grandma that we'll treat our little sister well in the future, okay? You can't be biased, right?" Jiang Rui held Xiang Wan's hand and smiled. "As an elder brother, you should give in to your little sister. You can't be so narrow-minded. You have to teach Nian Mian to be more open-minded. If you don't believe me, you can ask fourth grandpa if Haizi has been giving in to Yun Yun since young." The topic of the conversation was from the Jiang family to Ouyang Yen. Although it was a topic of conversation, Ouyang Xing didn't feel comfortable at all. How could he not see that this family was acting? That girl from the Yun family would definitely give birth to a girl? Those words were obviously meant for him to hear. Haizi can't not give in to Yun Yun. Girls are easy to bully. Ouyang Xing seemed to be implying something. The atmosphere instantly turned cold. "Fourth brother, I won't beat around the bush anymore. I think Jiang Zhao should stand up and apologize to your Yen." The old madam touched her walking stick and opened and closed her withered hands, looking very solemn. Qin Rongfang and Master Jiang immediately calmed their breathing as they were ready to clean up the mess. Jiang Rui took little Nian Mian from old Master Jiang's arms and took little Nyang Nyang. Little Jian Mian stretched his arms and wanted to be carried by Xiang Wan. He was determined to escape from Jiang Rui's evil clutches. Xiang Wan carried little Dian Mian and said softly, "Bite daddy's nose." Little Dian Mian giggled. "Apologize? What's the big deal about apologizing? Jiang Zhao must be responsible for Yun Yun. I, Ouyang Xing, only have one granddaughter. How can I let Jiang Zhao bully her like this?" The topic was changed quickly. Old Madame Jiang liked it very much. They had made it clear in the beginning. What they needed now was to talk about the follow-up. He must be responsible for this. "I won't say anything." Old Madame Jiang sighed. She took a look at old Master Jiang and then at Ouyang Xing. "Until now, I have never seen such a bastard like Jiang Zhao. You can ask old Qin about Qin Jin's divorce with Lai Qing. That's because Qin Jin minded too much about Lai Qing's past. We can't control how the men of the Jiang family play before marriage. That includes Jiang Feng. That boy is always stirring up trouble. As long as he can solve it himself, no matter if it's me or old Jiang, we will never say a word about him. That's how society is now, right?" Ouyang Xing leaned back. He let out a dissatisfied snort. Old Madame Jiang's purpose was too clear. It seemed that he didn't need to laugh it off and be polite. Old Madame Jiang didn't mind and continued to sigh. "I've always said that I'm old and can't keep up with this era, but I've tried my best to keep up with the pace of this era. I've always told the little wolf cubs in our family that before they get married, they can settle who they are sorry to, who they talk to, and who they sleep with. Don't make trouble at home and cause trouble for me. I'll turn a blind eye to it and won't get involved. But once they get a marriage certificate, they have to be responsible for this family. Before Xiang Yi married into our Jiang family, although she suffered some hardships, after she got married, our family treated her like our own daughter. Yi couldn't come over by plane because I couldn't take the plane, and Jiang Zhao didn't have time to return to Jiang district. I haven't officially drunk her tea yet, but Jiang Zhao was the one who agreed to marry his wife. Whether it was good or bad, he had to admit it. Now that he's married and has done something to let his wife down, he should be punished." Ouyang Xing sneered. "Big sister, I don't like what you're saying. In the end, our Yun Yun is the victim." Old Madame Jiang smiled and asked, "Your Yun Yun was forced by our Jiang Zhao? She was willing to marry a man she didn't like? What happiness is there in such a marriage?" Ouyang Xing was stunned. "Our Yun Yun naturally likes Jiang Zhao and is willing to marry him." Old Madame Jiang didn't give Ouyang Xing time to think. "So you're saying that Jiang Zhao didn't force Yun Yun? Yun Yun was willing to marry Jiang Zhao? How would I know?" Ouyang Xing was so anxious that his face turned red. This old woman was clearly setting a trap for him. "You don't know? If you don't know, then why did you force Yun Yun to marry Jiang Zhao? That's their private matter. Besides, they've talked about it before. Yun Yun is staying in Jiang Zhao's house in the north of the city. Everyone in Haiqing is talking about what happened between them. Both of them have feelings for each other. How could I force Yun Yun to marry him? That means both of them are traitors." Old Madame Jiang stabbed the floor with her walking stick. When Ouyang Xing heard the word traitor, his expression changed. Xiang Wan glanced at old Madame Jiang's skinny figure. She sighed in her heart. How many people in the Jiang family could be their match? If they really wanted to do something, there would be many ways. Although she had suffered a lot before she entered the Jiang family, there was one good thing. After she became a legitimate member of the Jiang family, Old Master Jiang and Old Madam Jiang were very protective of her. The stamp on the marriage certificate was really important. That be asterisk starred. Old Madam Jiang stood up. Xiang Wan immediately got up to support her and patted her back. Old Madam Jiang stomped the floor with her walking stick. Her expression was as stiff as a steel plate. She said to Ouyang Sheng angrily, "That be asterisk starred. Jiang Zhao, that be asterisk starred is AB asterisk starred. If this happened in the past, they would have been sent to the deep river. Old Jiang and I are people who have been involved in the revolution. What we liberated was the fate of women. In the end, our own granddaughter-in-law became the target of liberation and our own grandson became the target of a bullet. How can old Jiang and I endure this? That be asterisk starred. I must find him today. If he doesn't admit his mistake to that lass from the Yun family, I'll break his legs." Ouyang Sheng suddenly felt that he had been slapped in the face. Old Madam Jiang was scolding Jiang Zhao for being AB asterisk starred and a good-for-nothing. She was also scolding his granddaughter for committing adultery. In the past, if a pregnant woman couldn't find a man, she would be sent to the deep river. If both of them were caught, they would be sent to the deep river together. Get shot? Ouyang Sheng was angered by Old Madam Jiang's words and stood up. What do you mean? Are you saying that we don't need to care about our Yun Yun anymore? I'm not afraid to tell you. Old Madam Jiang snorted. Yun Yun and Jiang Zhao have committed adultery. Both of them should kneel in front of that lass from the Yun family and kowtow to admit their mistakes. Although I'm old, I still know some of these new words. Jiang Zhao is having an affair. Yun Yun is a third party who has an affair with a married man. Whether it's Jiang Zhao or Yun Yun, their crimes are unforgivable. The biggest victim here is that lass from the Yun family. She has a marriage certificate and is protected. But she isn't protected. Her husband has committed adultery. Don't you think so? Old Master Yun and Qin Rongfang stood up at this time. They wanted to persuade Old Madam Jiang not to be so agitated, but Old Madam Jiang acted as if she had a grudge against Ouyang Sheng. Her words were like cannons that couldn't be stopped. After committing adultery, Yun Yun still asked Jiang Zhao to divorce and marry her. That's destroying other people's families. If this was in our era, either one of these would be enough for the two of them to suffer. I won't protect Jiang Zhao in this matter. Even if he is removed from his position and scram home, I won't sympathize with him at all. Old Madam Jiang's trump card was very clear. Even if Jiang Zhao's future was affected, he wouldn't divorce her. However, this wasn't what Qin Rongfang and Old Master Jiang wanted at all. They wanted to reconcile. They couldn't affect Jiang Zhao's future. When Ouyang Sheng heard Old Madam Jiang's last sentence, the anger in his stomach exploded. He said coldly, "You came here today to tell me this, right?" Old Madam Jiang said, "No. At first I didn't want to say this. I wanted to come here to make my stand. I must make Jiang Zhao come out and apologize to Yun Yun. But you said that after Jiang Zhao and Yun Yun committed adultery, I feel sorry for that lass, so I will seek justice for that lass." Who said that it was adultery? Your Jiang Zhao clearly left, but he turned back to look for Yun Yun. I have photos of them sleeping together. Fine. Since you said it wasn't adultery, then it must be Jiang Zhao who forced himself on Yun Yun. You can prepare the evidence and sue him. You can provide the photos. If that lass of the Yun family wants to take revenge, she can also sue Jiang Zhao for having an affair. She can create a ruckus on the streets. If I stand up for her, I'm not a good person. Old Madam Jiang slammed her walking stick on the floor. Bang. The sound was like the hammer in the hands of the judge deciding the case. Everyone's expression changed drastically. Xiang Wan held her breath and did not dare to exhale. Grandma Bai looked too serious. It was as if she was being impulsive and serious. It was as if she was being serious on a whim. She said that it could be a big or small matter. Was Grandma Bai really going to ruin Jiang Zhao? Old Master Jiang got up and patted Old Madam Jiang's back. Calm down, calm down. You're always like this. You'll get into trouble later. Since all of you want to blow this matter up, then go ahead. Ouyang Sheng put his hands on his waist. He didn't want to be polite with anyone today. Old Madam Jiang snorted and said righteously, "Even if we don't blow this matter up, we can't solve it." The two of them must be used as negative examples. Both of them think that we have powerful families to protect us. That's why we dared to be so unruly behind our wives' backs. Young people nowadays have no sense of responsibility for their families. Jiang Zhao is still young, not even 30 years old. This lesson will be enough for him to reflect on for the rest of his life. He must know the importance of family harmony to his career. Even if he doesn't go into politics, he can still choose other paths. However, he has to be responsible for the rest of his life. If he doesn't learn a lesson, he won't remember it. His life has been too smooth. This shouldn't have happened. When Ouyang Xing heard old Madame Jiang saying such heartless words, his face turned pale. He felt as though there was blood stuck in his throat and he swallowed it back down. Yunyi had rushed into his house and hit him like a madwoman. What if she really took the photos and caused a ruckus on the streets? This family of foxes. Was she telling the truth? Beauty novel Xinwu 799. Chapter 630. Ye drove the car to the foot of an unknown mountain in the distant suburbs. Later she got tired of driving and stopped there. It had been a long time since she could do whatever she wanted. Who cares? Even if the sky fell, so be it. Jiang Zhao's strategy was to not fight back when hit or scolded. In any case, he claimed that he was guilty and deserved to be punished, hit and scolded. Ye made a fuss. She felt that she was especially boring. She told him to divorce and he said no. She told him to separate and he said no. She told him to go to hell and he said okay. Wasn't this asking for her life? In the end, she was worn down until there was nothing left but annoyance. She felt that she had never been so annoyed with him before. He was so annoying, so annoying. The two of them slept in the car. Ye turned off the engine. Jiang Zhao said, "Turn on the air conditioner." Turning on the air conditioner is bad for the car. Are you an idiot? It's fine. If it gets bad, we can buy another one. Buy the one you like. If you don't turn on the air conditioner and we're so little, you'll catch a cold. Crazy. In the end, he started the car and turned on the air conditioner for the whole night. At dawn, Ye reached out and patted the chair Jiang Zhao was sleeping on. Drive the car back to work. I want to stay here for a while. Ye saw that the scenery nearby was pretty good. There were signs that looked like farmhouses, so she could stay for 2 days. She really didn't want to go back. She wanted to indulge herself and give herself a break. Jiang Zhao slept in the passenger seat. After the chair was leveled, he lay on it. His legs were still uneven. He was too long. He raised his hands and put them behind his head. I'm not going. Are you crazy? It's Monday. Jiang Zhao closed his eyes and said, I'm not crazy. I'm going to lose my wife soon. Why should I go to work? I'm not going to work. I don't rely on that little salary anyway. What's so good about that work? You can't even wear clothes that are too expensive. Even your wedding ring is a plain ring. You don't even dare to buy a pigeon egg to wear. Which of those rich madams doesn't stretch out their fingers to show off? Let's go back. I'll buy you a new pigeon egg. You can wear it out to make others envious. We'll buy the biggest one. If someone surpasses you, we'll change. Ye's mouth twitched. Was this guy's brain short-circuited? Lie down and pretend to be asleep. Jiang Zhao did not hear Ye's reply. He opened his eyes and saw Ye glaring at him with crooked teeth. He chuckled. What do you think? Ye sighed. Jiang Zhao, you should be more rational. You're already an adult, you should be more reliable. This job is not about the salary. The Jiang family and the Qin family are counting on you to enter the provincial party committee in the future, or even move up the ranks. Aren't you afraid that your family will be upset by your words of self-abandonment? If you don't go back with me, why should I go to work? If you don't go back, I won't go back. You're threatening me. Do you know that? I'm not threatening you. I just want to be with you. If we don't split, how are we going to live? Right now, I'm afraid that you'll be next to me. I feel disgusted when you put your hand on me. Ye wasn't lying. She couldn't get rid of the things in her mind. However, she wasn't as agitated as she was last night because she had met a rascal. If she got agitated, he would do something even more agitated. She couldn't handle his tricks anymore. She could only speak softly and talk to him in a gentle manner. Jiang Zhao turned his body to the side. Ye was still lying flat on the mainframe seat. Looking at Ye's face, she was indeed haggard, but the finger marks on her face had faded a lot and were no longer swollen. He also knew that what she said was disgusting, so he tried his best not to touch her. He didn't dare to hug her because if he hugged her, she would start to attack him again and start to be on guard. He knew that she instinctively hated him. He turned around and looked at the sky outside the skylight. She sighed. Yunyi, have you ever thought that it wasn't easy for us to get married? You said that you wanted to marry me in front of so many people. Do you still remember that time when you called me and lied to me that you got into a car accident? When I was about to look for you, you ran out of the crowd and hugged me as soon as you ran out. I was so angry that I wanted to stomp my feet. I was worried that you had gotten into a car accident, but you played with me. You stood in front of me in perfect condition. You made me worry for nothing. I asked you what you wanted to do, and you said that you wanted to marry me. Jiang Zhao was stunned. He closed his eyes and said, "What do you want to do? You said that you want to marry me." Yunyi, I will never forget that time when you told me that you wanted to marry me. Do you know that your eyes were like fireworks at that time? It was as if the night sky was lit up all of a sudden. I still remember your tone and expression clearly. It was as if they were carved into my mind with a knife. I remember that you were so confident and firm at that time. You were like a stake that was firmly planted in front of me and I couldn't push you away. It was as if you were determined to marry me and no one could stop you. It was as if you would never regret it for the rest of your life. At that time you were so confident that I was stunned. I will always remember where you were standing at that time. At that time the maple leaves were red above your head and around you. At that time the golden sun shone through those yezi and shone into your eyes. Yunyi, your eyes were so bright at that time. I will never forget it for the rest of my life. Yunyi, no matter whether you were sincere or not, do you dare to deny that you were pretending to be so determined at that time? Ye listened to him and was a little mesmerized. When she heard the man's slightly hoarse narration, she couldn't help but feel sad. She slowly said, I wasn't pretending. At that time I already wanted to marry you. I thought that I couldn't let Ouyang Yen marry you. If she married you, I would become a mistress. I didn't want to be a mistress. I was determined not to be a mistress. I had this thought. With this thought, she turned herself into the main wife and Ouyang Yen into a mistress. Jiang Zhao listened and let out a long breath. He felt somewhat comforted, gratified, and relieved. In short, the soft part of his heart was extremely warm even though it was sour at this time. Yinyi, I know you saw it yesterday. I explained to you that there was nothing between me and her. You didn't believe me, but I still told you. Sigh. Jiang Zhao, I don't want to hear your explanations right now. Really, I know you don't want to get a divorce, so let's not get a divorce for now. Let's break up for a while. Jiang Zhao, let's break up for a while. You can deal with the outside world as much as you want, I won't care anymore. Anyway, I don't need to get married now. We'll talk about this again when things have calmed down. Let's live in harmony in the future. Some people said that time was not as good as obsession and time was not as good as fickle. In her opinion, the nemesis of obsession was the spear of time. The root of fickleness was the essence of human nature. At the end of the day, there was nothing in this world that could not change. She hated her calmness and maturity at this time. Although the dull pain in her heart was still clear, she realized that she had not learned anything else in the past 2 years. She had learned one thing, and that was to be ruthless to herself. Ever since her father's accident, she had done many things without leaving a way out for herself. She had forced herself to death many times. Unwu said that there would be a way out. If there was no way out, there would be a way out. Where there were feet, there would be a way out. So it was impossible for people to have no way out. She had forced herself to the beach and dared to swim over because she thought she could swim. She had married Yen. She had forced herself to the forest and dared to barge in because she thought there were wild fruits. She had forced herself to the edge of a cliff and dared to take off her clothes as a parachute and jump down. There was nothing she did not dare to do, including slapping herself hard to wake herself up, including hitting Ouyang Yen to vent the humiliation in her heart. She did not hit him, but, although she hated him, she could not bear to do it. Jiang Zhao paused for a few seconds and chewed on her words a few times. Suddenly, he felt his blood rushing to his heart. No matter how he confessed or explained, it was useless. She had closed the door to her heart and did not want to communicate with him. She did not want to waste her breath on him. She did not need to remarry now. She did not need to do it now. She would need to do it in the future. She still wanted to marry someone else? Wait for everyone to calm down before saying all these? She said she loved him, and now she said she wanted to wait for things to calm down? Love was love, and then she could stop loving him just because she said she did not love him? Was it easy to say these words? Yunyi, Jiang Zhao sat up. How do you plan to calm down with me? I will not agree to live apart from you. Yer also sat up with him. She leaned against the car door and looked at him. Jiang Zhao, can you be more reasonable? When Jiang Zhao was silent, he only cared about inhaling and exhaling. His heavy breaths enveloped the entire car. Yer looked at him stubbornly and resisted his final struggle. The man's lips were a little dry from being exposed to the air conditioner all night. He stuck out the tip of his tongue and licked it lightly. Can I still be reasonable now? Haven't I already lost all reason? Am I not only left with being unreasonable and making trouble for no reason? If this had happened in the past, if she had wanted to talk about divorce or breaking up, he would have been in the mood to talk nonsense with her. But now he did not dare to talk nonsense with her. As long as he compromised a little, it would be exactly what she wanted. He knew that although she was young, she was not afraid of trouble at all. Now that she had even thought of a way out for herself with Yun Hongwei's matter and was planning to bear it alone, what meaning and value did he have left? He had no bargaining chip to threaten her, so he could only be unreasonable and make trouble for no reason. You still want to sleep in the same bed as me? Jiang Zhao, what kind of logic is this? You can't bully people like this. I don't want to sleep in the same bed as you. Fine, but you can't be separated from me. Yunyi, let's all take a step back. We'll still stay in mansion number 9. We'll still treat both sides' elders well. There are 2 rooms on the 2nd floor. In the future you'll sleep in the big room and I'll sleep in the small room. I promise I won't touch you, but don't mention signing any separation agreement with me. Jiang Zhao, I won't feel free like that. I don't want to please you in the future. I don't want to be so tired. I want to move out and live the life I want to live. I can find a job as a dance teacher. The income won't be bad. Actually, I've asked before. I can support my brother and father. I'll discuss father's matter with Xia Qian and ask her to teach me how to use public opinion to add fuel to the fire. No. Jiang Zhao interrupted with a sullen face, you're still my wife now. We're not divorced yet. What right do you have to discuss your matter with Xia Qian and not me? Fine, I'll do as you say. I don't care about you. You want freedom. If you want to be a dance teacher, go ahead. But you can't change the previous plans. Father's matter, the matter of studying, the matter of opening a dance studio, none of them can be changed. Ad Hongcha 866. Chapter 631. Jiang Zhao was so sure that he almost finished speaking in one breath. He couldn't stop. He had to pour out his thoughts. He couldn't let her make the decision. What did it look like? She wanted to draw a clear line between them. This was something he couldn't allow. If their previous plans were to change, his marriage would really be over. She was very young to begin with. It was so easy for her to forget someone. If she broke away from his control, she would become more and more independent. It wasn't a good thing for a woman to be too independent because he could clearly feel that she wanted to break away from him. First, she wanted to break away from him from a single point of view. In the end, she wanted to break away from him in all aspects. He wouldn't give her such a chance. If she wanted to open a dance studio, he would find someone to help her choose a location. He would pay for it. He could often give her advice on management. This way she would rely on him. If she wanted to study, he could tutor her. As for Yun Hongwei's matter, he could speed up and help her settle it. He couldn't wait anymore. He had to settle it even if he had to pay the price. As long as it was settled, she would be grateful to him. Therefore, all of these things couldn't have nothing to do with him. It had to be related. The family Ouyang's old residence was very tense. Ouyang Yin had been listening to the conversation in the living room from the corner of the corridor. She covered her face and cried but couldn't make a sound. She didn't know if old madam's words were true. In short, she was afraid. She was really afraid. If old madam got involved in this matter to seek justice for Yunyi and insisted on blowing this matter up and even allowed Yunyi to take revenge on Jiang Zhao, what kind of situation would that be? The entire Haiqing would scold her and Jiang Zhao for being an adulterous couple. What would she do if Yunyi became more arrogant and jumped out to make trouble? If Jiang Zhao became a man who wouldn't change his mind to save his family, what would she do? She would be despised even more. Being despised wasn't scary. What was scary was that even if she was despised, she wouldn't be able to become Mrs. Jiang. The Jiang family didn't seem to like her very much. However, old Master Jiang had specially come from Jiang district to put in a good word for her. Ouyang Yin clenched his fists. His face was covered in bruises and bruises. His face shape and skin color could not be seen. His eyes, which were originally as calm as water, were slowly stained with resentment. Xiang Wan supported Grandma Bai, but Grandma Bai refused to sit down. Ouyang Sheng was taller than Grandma Bai. He stood on the opposite side of the coffee table with his head held high, looking very domineering. Grandma Bai did not want to lose her imposing manner. Her petite body supported herself with a walking stick, which made her look like a dignified old madam. Fourth bro, you should call Yun Yun out. We can ask her face to face. Children can always explain everything clearly. It's useless for us adults to worry here. In fact, the old lady knew very well that she was making a scene because she wanted to have a psychological battle with Ouyang Sheng. When she was young, she had encountered countless enemies. Women could not win in a fight. Sometimes they had to rely on their wits and pretentiousness. How could she allow others to defame her grandson? How could she destroy her grandson's future with her own hands? Ouyang Sheng, that sly old fox, wanted to use the fact that the Jiang family and the Qin family were afraid that Jiang Zhao's future would be ruined. She wanted to see who could afford to lose. Obviously, Ouyang Sheng could not afford to lose the Ouyang Yan's reputation. Even if Jiang Zhao did not work in politics, he could still do business. With the influence of the Jiang family and the Qin family as well as Jiang Zhao's own companies, he had a bright future ahead of him. Even if he got divorced, at most he would be recorded as a playboy in the history of men. Ouyang Yin could also choose not to work in the prosecutor's office. He could still do business, but what about the future? No matter where she went, people would remember that she was slapped by the former Mrs. Jiang. Her face was so swollen that it looked like a ladle. Moreover, the Jiang family did not allow her to enter their house. A playboy's playboy reputation could be called amorous, but a playboy reputation for a woman was called cheap. Who was the one who was at a disadvantage? Ouyang Sheng was clearer than anyone else. When the Jiang family wanted to smash the pot, the family Ouyang dared to follow the Jiang family and smash the pot, the Ouyang Yin. Was that so? Obviously they did not dare to do so. Yun Yun is injured. It's not convenient for her to come out and meet guests. Ouyang Sheng refused. I've heard about it from Fian. Grandma Bai heaved a long sigh, seeming to be regretful. She did not hear it from Fian but from Qin Rongfang. However, she told Ouyang Sheng that she heard it from Fian. Fian was the first eyewitness and witnessed the grand occasion at that time. Ouyang Sheng's eyebrows sank slightly. Grandma Bai patted Xiangwan's hand. Xiangwan, you and Yun Yun are both young people. There's no generation gap between you two. Go and take a look at her. Yer is still young and impulsive. However, you're her sister-in-law. Now that your sister-in-law has hurt someone, you should go and apologize. This lass is really too much. Her own husband had also done something wrong, so why did she keep hitting other people's women? She should also give Jiang Zhao a few slaps on his face as well. A man like him would be afraid of being hit. He would not dare to do such a disgraceful thing in the future. Xiangwan was obedient and witty when she was outside. Her gentle voice had won Grandma Bai's favor. Grandma, don't worry. I'll definitely do my part. Grandma Bai patted Xiangwan's hand again. Good girl, the daughter-in-law of the Jiang family should do her part. Ouyang Sheng held his forehead. He had been scolded many times today. How could a disgraceful thing be used to describe a man having an affair outside? Part? Was she saying that his granddaughter seduced a married man and did not do her part? If he still wanted to live for a few more years, he had to chase away this pack of wolves and foxes. He had already confronted them earlier. Now he only said coldly, I'll ask Yun Yun about this matter. Both of you can go back. Anyway, Yin Yin is not used to eating outside. Grandma Bai laughed and stood up. She pulled Grandpa Zhang's collar. Go, go, go. Take the little devil back. You dote on him anyway. Jiang Rui carried little Yin Yin and stood up. Son, let's go back. Let's go play with Uncle and Auntie. Let's play marbles, okay? Xiangwan's mouth twitched. Marbles? All the diamonds in the box at home had been taken by her son to play with marbles. She had tried to stop him many times, but he always said that they were at home. If they really could not be found, they would come out when the house was cleaned. When she was angry with him, he would say that they were just glass marbles. What kind of people were they? Qin Fian followed Jiang Liqing to find Jiang Zhao's car. When the two of them were surrounded by several military vehicles, one of them looked panicked while the other looked calm and composed. Yer asked anxiously, Jiang Zhao, what should we do? Dad is here. Are we in big trouble? The woman, who had just said that she would be given a holiday, quickly lost her courage and pulled Jiang Zhao's sleeve in fright. It wasn't that Jiang Zhao didn't like it. He thought, Brother Liqing, you came at the right time. My wife is finally willing to touch me. I haven't even jumped into the river and she's already willing to touch me. Dad? Her brother Liqing, you're my dad, my dear dad. Did you hear that? Your daughter-in-law is calling you dad. You have to respond louder later. I'll drink with you more next time. Jiang Zhaoxian leisurely looked at the rearview mirror and adjusted the collar of his coat. His chest muscles are really sexy. He lightly said, well, I guess he just got into big trouble. Who knows, if he likes it then so be it. What should we do? What should we do if Dad asks? What do you mean what should we do? Anyway, even if the sky falls, we'll use it as a blanket. Jiang Zhao knew that today's beating was unavoidable. Other families' children had stopped using corporal punishment a long time ago, but the Jiang family still kept this tradition. He could almost hear the whooshing sound of his father's whip in the air. How many years had it been since he was whipped because he was smart? The person who knocked on Jiang Zhao's car door was not Jiang Liqing or any other soldier or officer. Instead, it was Qin Fian, a handsome and meticulously dressed man. He was wearing a flashy green sweater in the middle of winter, and his coat was still open. With his hands in his trouser pockets, he wobbled to the side of the off-road vehicle. When he wanted to lean on it and pose, he found that the car was a little dirty, so he immediately stood up straight and knocked on the glass window of the passenger seat with his mobile phone in his hand. A pair of charming phoenix eyes overflowed with a playful smile under the lensless frame glasses. "Oh, you've come all the way to the wilderness to date?" Jiang Zhao rolled down the window and said recklessly, "Are you jealous?" "Jealous, right?" Qin Fian looked at Jiang Zhao, who was wearing a cashmere coat, and Yi Er, who was only wearing a sweater. He reached out and tugged at Jiang Zhao's collar. "Brother, when did you go the sexy route? At this time your style suddenly changed. I suddenly felt like I was struck by lightning. Are you planning to steal my rice bowl in the future?" "What rice bowl? My market is different from yours." Yes. I attract handsome men." "You attract." Jiang Zhao noticed that Qin Fian was looking at Yi Er. When he turned around, he saw that Yi Er's face had indeed darkened. He turned around and glared at Qin Fian fiercely, reprimanding in a low voice, You only know how to find trouble for me." Qin Fian smiled devilishly, "Don't glare at me. Good luck to you." He paused slightly and looked at Yi Er. Yi Er heard the pause and looked up, coincidentally meeting Qin Fian's eyes. Qin Fian's eyes quickly fell on Jiang Zhao's eyes. "Uncle is going to give you a heavy punishment this time. Even if you don't die, you will be skinned alive." Yi Er was shocked. She had heard that Jiang Liqing was a very cruel person, but after getting married she didn't find out. Even if he didn't die, he would be skinned alive. What kind of concept was that? Her little fists unconsciously clenched tightly. Jiang Zhao shrugged, "You don't have to say that. I can already feel the murderous intent." It was good that someone was going to punish him. The military car honked a few times. Jiang Zhao said to Yi Er, "Drive. Follow Dad's car. If you're tired, I'll drive." Qin Fian walked out of the driver's seat and opened the car door. "Sister-in-law, you sit in the back. I'll drive." Yi Er heard Qin Fian's words and shivered the moment she got out of the car. She didn't wear a jacket, so it was really cold. The off-road car followed behind the military car, and there were a few other cars following behind. It was as if they were escorting a criminal. Yi Er's hair stood on end. Thinking about Qin Fian's words, even if he didn't die, he would be skinned alive. She couldn't help but shiver and pat the back of the front seat. "Fian, where are we going?" Qin Fian drove the car and took a deep breath. The Qin family's old residence. "Sister-in-law, you should find something for my brother to fill his stomach with. After being whipped, he probably won't even have the strength to eat. Uncle hasn't whipped anyone in a long time. He really wants to drink human blood." Yi Er's back was instantly drenched in cold sweat. Attention, Song Shu 566. Chapter 632. Yi Er was trembling as she listened. She sat behind Qin Fian and saw that the man in the front passenger seat was sitting there like a dead pig, unafraid of boiling water, as if he was resting. He had always been like this, able to take everything calmly and not panic in the face of danger. Yi Er tilted her head over. "Fian, do we have to go to the Qin family's old residence? I haven't eaten yet, I'm a little hungry." Yi Er knew that this trip boded ill rather than well. Qin Fian usually spoke so casually. Although she couldn't tell if he was lying or not, she knew that he wasn't joking just by looking at the military vehicles. She wanted to escape. Qin Fian wasn't a fool. Even if Jiang Zhao wasn't dressed to the nines like him, he was still decent and elegant. Now that he was dressed so comically, it was obvious that he was chasing his wife. This matter wouldn't end so easily. But Yi Er's worries were clearly heard by him. Remembering that his brother had been troubled all night, Qin Fian decided to help him. "Sister-in-law, I'm afraid we can't leave now. There are military vehicles in front and behind us. If Uncle gets angry and catches us as deserters, it'll be even worse. You can go back to the Qin residence and find something to eat. Anyway, you won't be whipped, my brother will be the one getting whipped. It would have been better if Qin Fian hadn't said it, but once he said that Jiang Zhao would be whipped, Yi Er's heart couldn't help but tremble. She clenched her little fists and trembled. He's already so old, why does he still have to be whipped? Jiang Zhao's eyes were still closed, but his eyelashes fluttered. The corners of his mouth curled up imperceptibly as he sighed. Family law. That's how our family works. He wasn't lying. If a father wanted to call for a whip, no matter how old his son was, the biggest concession he could make was to find a secluded place where no outsiders could see. He wouldn't call for a whip above his neck where outsiders could see. This was already a huge honor. He smiled. It was just that he knew that there was someone worried about him. It felt really good to have a woman he liked worry about him. Why didn't he experience it earlier? Qin Fian felt that he should add more firewood to Yi Er, so he said to Jiang Zhao, "Bro, do you know that you're going to the execution ground? Should I get some clothes? When you get home, eldest uncle will definitely tell you to take off your coat and wear a shirt to cover it. Otherwise, eldest uncle's whip that has been with him for decades is made of real leather. It's very heavy. Even the sound of the whip hitting the air is very shocking, not to mention hitting human flesh." Yi Er was indeed scared stiff. She was so scared that her heart was in a mess. She leaned against Qin Fian's seat and gripped the edge of the genuine leather seat tightly. Her fingertips made a goo-goo sound as they rubbed against the genuine leather. She took a deep breath and said seriously, "Fei Yan, take off your sweater and let Jiang Zhao wear it." Jiang Zhao turned his head and saw Yi Er leaning against Qin Fian's seat, looking straight at Fei Yan. Her gaze was very penetrating. Nervousness and worry, fear and panic. These things were all because of him, right? Why didn't he notice it before? Yunyi, how good were you at acting in the past? When you looked into my eyes in the past, you were provocative and not serious, stubborn and unwilling to admit defeat. When I asked you, you didn't mean what you said. When I didn't ask you, you didn't mean what you said. But at this moment, that soft spot in his heart seemed to be constantly being rubbed by someone. Rubbing and rubbing out a puddle of water. Yi Er was completely unaware of Jiang Zhao's attention. She was still anxiously waiting for Qin Fian's reply. Jiang Zhao looked at Yi Er and said quietly, "Yunyi, don't worry about it. The sweater still has to be taken off. My dad is not a fool. How could he let someone get whipped while wearing clothes?" Yi Er looked back at Jiang Zhao's eyes. She saw that his eyes were as calm as the surface of a lake in a painting. There was not a trace of undulation. It was as if what was going to happen next was nothing at all. It was a kind of peace of mind. He was telling her not to worry. So it turned out that one could communicate with their eyes. Why were his eyes so deep and messy in the past? It made her unable to see. She thought that she could persevere because of the reassurance in his eyes. But when she got back to the Qin residence, her legs started to tremble. When she entered the main hall of the Qin residence, the whole family was present. Her mother-in-law was not around. Fei was not around. Grandpa had come over from Jiang district. The one who was holding a walking stick next to him should be Grandma. She had seen the photo that Jiang Zhao had given her. Elder brother and sister-in-law were here as well. Qin Fian knew that he was of no use here. He would not be able to persuade them at all. Hence, he simply found an excuse to go to the backyard to take a look. Yi Er felt a little guilty. Father was not around. Was it because he was unwilling to come? Or did he not know what happened last night? Xiang Wan felt that the atmosphere was too gloomy. She carried Mian and walked to Yi Er. "Yi Er, are you cold? Shall I put on a cashmere shawl?" No need. I'm not cold. It's quite warm in the main hall. There's an air conditioner." Yi Er took Mian from Xiang Wan and hugged him. Little Mian, did you miss me?" Xiang Wan lifted Mian's chin. "Baby, call me second aunt." Second aunt. Mian's language development was not bad. Among the babies of the same age, his pronunciation was considered very clear. Yi Er looked at Mian. "Second aunt? Second uncle, second aunt?" He sighed softly in his heart. The atmosphere in the main hall was stifling. Everyone in the house was holding their breaths. Jiang Liqing's temper could usually be suppressed by the elders in the family. However, if something like what happened to Jiang Zhao happened, no one would be able to stop him. Jiang Liqing was a soldier and an experienced one at that. Discipline was a very important thing to him. Even though he and Qin Jin had the intention of breaking off their relationship with his ex-girlfriend, after they got married, no matter how upset he felt, he had never slept in his ex-girlfriend's bed. To the Jiang family, this was definitely a disgrace to their family's reputation. As his parents had participated in the revolution, They had traditional values and educated their children using traditional values. Later on, due to the changes in society when it came to Jiang Zhao's generation, there were no longer any rules regarding cohabitation before marriage. However, after marriage there were still restrictions on their behavior. Grandma Bai was a little nervous as she held her walking stick. Lai Qing, let's talk about this on the table first. You can't just use corporal punishment whenever something happens. Your child is almost at the age of becoming a father. If you can, don't use force to solve it. It was inevitable that they would be closer to their grandson. As his grandparents, how could they not protect him? However, since things had turned out this way, the two elders couldn't really say anything. Especially since Yi Er was also around, it would not look good if they tried to protect him. If I had used force on him earlier, he wouldn't have done such a thing. Jiang Liqing was still in his military uniform. The dark brown horsewhip in his hand looked quite old. The leather whip had an old glow to it, and the hand holding the handle was tight and strong. Jiang Liqing's voice suppressed everyone's breathing in the main hall. Old Master Jiang and Old Madam Jiang had fought against each other before. Old Master Jiang had always believed that political power came from the barrel of a gun, and filial sons came from the rod of a rod. His two sons were born in this way. Therefore, when his two sons wanted to beat their own sons, he really couldn't say anything unless the children were innocent. When Grandma Bai heard Jiang Liqing's rebuttal, she looked at Yi Er and swallowed her words. Yi Er hugged Dianmian tightly. Dianmian was uncomfortable from the tight grip and started crying loudly. Yi Er snapped out of his daze and quickly hugged Dianmian. Dianmian, don't cry, don't cry. This attracted the attention of everyone in the room. Even Jiang Liqing asked, "What's wrong?" Yi Er was still feeling guilty, but suddenly his heart skipped a beat. He lifted his head and walked towards Jiang Liqing with Dianmian in his arms. "Dad, Dianmian is probably frightened." He pointed at the horsewhip in Jiang Liqing's hand and said to Dianmian, "Little Dianmian, look. Is grandfather's whip nice to look at? Can you stop fooling around?" Dianmian's attention was immediately drawn over. He bent over and tried to snatch Jiang Liqing's whip. Jiang Liqing's expression darkened. You're indulging Jiang Zhao. If you indulge him like this, I won't care if he bullies you in the future." Yi Er didn't know that Jiang Liqing would be so straightforward at this moment. He saw through her intentions and didn't give her any face. She bit her lip and her eyes turned red. "Dad, Jiang Zhao is already so old. Let's not hit him anymore, shall we?" Mian only cared about snatching the whip from Jiang Liqing's hand. Xiangwan was worried that Jiang Liqing would raise his hand and hit her son. When she wanted to carry her son back, she was stopped by Jiang Rui. Xiangwan was anxious. She had seen this eldest uncle of hers before. He could slap the back of Jiang Feng's neck without giving him any face at all. At this moment, his head was filled with blood. Who knew what he might do? Jiang Rui lowered his head and whispered in Xiangwan's ear, "Eldest uncle won't hurt Dianmian." Xiangwan looked up and glared at Jiang Rui. She lowered her voice and mouthed, "Jiang de Dianmian is your biological son." Jiang Liqing roared, "Yi Er, carry Dianmian to the side. If I hurt Dianmian, you will become the sinner of the whole family." Yi Er was shocked. Dianmian was also frightened by Jiang Liqing's loud voice and started to cry. Xiangwan pushed Jiang Rui away and quickly walked over to Yi Er. "Yi Er, the more you try to persuade him, the harder eldest uncle will hit him." Xiangwan could understand how Yi Er felt. When Jiang Rui was hit by old Master Jiang, her heart was broken into pieces. The men of the Jiang family were filial. Hence, they didn't dare to complain when they were punished. Yi Er was scared out of her wits and didn't dare to say a word. Old Mistress Jiang turned her face away. Qin Rongfang was so anxious that he wanted to stomp his feet but could only endure it. He wanted to leave but was worried that Jiang Liqing would hit him hard. Everyone in the house heard Jiang Liqing shout, "Take off your coat. Turn around." Jiang Zhao knew that he was going to be whipped today, but he had seen all of Yi Er's little tricks. He didn't say a word, but he thought that he really deserved a beating. They were already in such a state, did she still want him to get hurt? Just like yesterday she had slapped her and Ouyang Yan's faces, but she didn't slap him at all. The more he thought about it, the faster he took off his coat. He threw the cashmere coat on the floor. Although there was an air conditioner in the main hall, he still felt the cold wind when he was half naked. Jiang Rui supported Xiangwan. Xiang, take Dianmian out. Don't leave him here. You'll scare him."